All right. Hello, and welcome to another actual play for the Rollwise podcast. Tonight, we are playing the open beta test Daggerheart tabletop RPG. And just as a caveat, and I believe they've made this abundantly clear to people as part of their communications, is that this is the beta test version of Daggerheart and may be subject to change before its final product is released. So we may be playing or testing rules tonight that do not appear in the final game. And who knows? Maybe our feedback could alter the trajectory of the game, or maybe your feedback. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure that the folks over at Darrington Press are going to be watching people play the game, watching people's reactions to the game, and kind of doing some investigatory stuff
And there's
themselves.
actually a questionnaire in the character sheet on Demi
Mhm.
Plane.
Yep. So a couple things today. So I know that there's no virtual tabletop that has supported any of the Daggerheart rules because, first of all, it's beta rules. It would be hard to put together and put the resources into creating a virtual tabletop or rule set for a virtual tabletop for rules that'll ultimately change. So we're going to do this entirely theater of the mind. And since that's a play style that's encouraged by the game, it does not seem to have too much of a tactical focus. We're going to give it the pure theater of the mind um, go and see what happens there. Second, these guys are going to be using the characters, the pre-generated characters available on the Nexus or the Daggerheart
Demi-plane.
Nexus at Demiplane. That's not a
There you
lot
go.
of not a lot of words to confuse there.
A lot of words.
So the Daggerheart Nexus on Demiplane, they're going to be using the pre-generated characters, but you can also use it to generate your own characters if you want to start your own adventures in the beta. And of course, always download the beta from the most up-to-date beta from Darrington Press if you want to give it a go yourself and see if you like it. So we're basically going to take this as though we're just cracking the quick adventure book open or PDF open for the first time, and we're going to kind of just let it guide us through the process. Hopefully, this will give us an idea as to how they want us to play the game, and if that game is fun and exciting, all of those kind of things. So, hopefully, Brent, have you checked our audio to make sure that we are?
I had not, but let me
Oh.
go do that. 1 second.
Well, if I'm lucky, I don't look like just a Muppet, basically, talking at the screen.
What's wrong with Muppets, Mike?
Nothing. I just have a nice, very animated head, just bobbing around all over the place. Hopefully not. We'll see. Those are my rules, and I'm sticking to it. So, Brent, let's see. Oh, okay.
We're
Perfect.
good.
All right.
So, that was actually good because then I could hear everybody talk because we all chimed in before then, so I could back up to it. So,
okay.
How exciting. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. So the name of the adventure it seems it's just called Open Beta Quick Start Adventure according to the subtitle, but I believe they meant to call it the Sablewood Messengers. So in case I don't want there to be any confusion, but that's what we're going to go ahead and call it as well. So Marlowe Fairwind, the right-hand sorcerer of King Emrys, has gathered her most trusted ally to carry an important package to Hush, a small village within the ancient forest of Sablewood. The crate is large, heavy, and sealed with magic. Addressed to the Whitefire Arcanist. You've been given a map and a carriage, and the promise of reward upon your arrival. Now, for this game, there are 5 pre-generated characters. Because we have 2 players, they're going to be selecting their players, and they've actually already pre-selected them. So the first character is going to be Marlowe Fairwind, a lore-born elf sorcerer. And Marlowe Fairwind is the personal mage to King Emrys and is responsible for bringing this group together. She appears calm until she isn't. So, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about Marlowe Fairwind?
It sounds like you just did.
Well, a little bit more about. A little bit more. How about
that? Let's see. I was filling out the character sheet. So, as a sorcerer, my clothes are enchanted, so they always kind of seem to like they're shimmering or moving. I have lavender eyes, dark hair, an athletic build. And my attitude is like I'm always observing, always thinking, quiet, because obviously when you're one of the king's advisors, you don't really speak unless you're asked for your opinion.
Okay. And so, why do you think King Emerus trusts you more than anyone else to deliver this package?
I've worked hard over time to become his most trusted advisor. I don't tell him the things that he wants to hear, and more often than not, the things that I tell him wind up being correct.
Mm.
So he has come to lean on my judgment, obviously, not past his own, but more
Ah,
so than some of the other people in the court.
so you're not just some sycophant or something like that.
No,
Gotcha.
no, I don't think I would have stuck around had I just been a sycophant.
Well, sometimes they stick around for longer than you
Oh
expect.
no, sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
So, okay. So, joining Marlowe in this adventure is going to be Garrick Reed, a defector from a distant military force. He approaches most conflict with a kill him with kindness attitude. Brent, can you tell us a little bit more about Garrick Reed?
Yeah, Garrick Reed, his pronouns are he, him. His clothes are kind of weathered and reinforced. Kind of like he travels a lot. He's got blue eyes like an endless ocean. He's tall and stoned. Tall and toned. Tall and
Tall and
toned.
stoned. Well, I
Stoned.
can.
The fine sand thing got me. Color of fine sand, which I still think is a weird thing that they have you a body.
So what did you take that? I didn't answer that, but what color are they talking about? Hair,
I think it's
skin,
their
what?
skin. I think you're supposed to read it like their pronouns are, their clothes are, eyes like an ocean, body that's tall and toned, the color of fine sand. I
Okay,
think that's what
okay.
it is.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't.
They
Yeah, I
probably
couldn't
could put
really.
that in there. It might be their hair. Their hair would probably make more sense as
I
it has
thought
like
skin tone, but then they said
blue in there.
clover, and I
Yeah,
was like, well, I mean, I guess the frog guys exist,
frogs can
right?
be green. Yeah,
Yeah, they could
exactly.
be green. Okay, it threw me for a
Um,
second.
and
Sorry.
because of his attitude of kill him with kindness, I put his attitude as kind of like a hero. Um, and one of my background questions was, what has Marlowe asked previous of me that made a mission difficult to say yes to? She asked me to help her with a bodyguard situation for the king, but she didn't necessarily give me all of the information about who we were protecting him from, which caused some problems. So I was reluctant at first, but she eventually talked me into it.
Oh, so Marlowe tends to keep some secrets from you, only gives you what she thinks you need to know.
Well,
That's
that's the way it's
tough.
been in the past.
Information is a currency. That's all I'm going to say.
That's tough. That's tough. So, what we're going to do now is we're just going to basically do a little bit of a breakdown of the game rules, and maybe what I'll try to do is for when this is all said and done, I'll try to like put chapters or something in that, just because this may be a little bit of me talking, and so I hope you guys are ready to open your ears for some game rules. So we're going to quickly cover the basics of what you need to know to start playing. First off, Daggerheart is a collaborative, narrative-focused role-playing game. That means we'll all be working together to tell a story using the mechanics of the game as our foundation. You'll each make choices for your character during the adventure, and I will describe the rest of the world reacting around them. Sometimes I might ask you a question, what your character knows about a place or he has heard about a person, and I'll do my best to integrate those answers into the story we're telling so that we're building together. Now, that reminds me a lot of Fallout, basically trying to get your input as to NPCs and all those kind of things. And so I think I'm a big fan of that. We're not going to look at the character sheet, the physical character sheet, so we don't need to worry about the character sheet explainers. So I'm going to go to the action rules. So let's talk about how we roll dice in Daggerheart. I'll give you the basics and learn as we go. First, there are 2d12 dice called your duality dice. One is going to represent hope, and one represents fear. Now, for us, because we're all playing this virtually, anybody that's listening, you have to know that we're using a duality dice bot for Discord. So if you happen to be a virtual or virtual player like we are, and you use Discord as your main table of choice, and you play Daggerheart, the bot is actually pretty easy to use. It's pretty easy to install. I'll see if I can find the link for it so you can invite it to your channel as well, or your server, or whatever it's called. So you won't see dice rolls in this. We're going to see them in our own Discord server. When you have your characters do something in the story that is dangerous or could result in consequences, I'll probably ask you to make an action roll. You'll roll both of those 2d12s and add the applicable character trait to the result. I'll usually tell you what it is, but sometimes I'll ask you if I'm not sure. If you want to, you may use some of the tokens you have to represent the modifiers on the roll. So let's say you're making an agility roll and you have a +2 in that trait. You'll take 2 tokens into your hand. So in this case, we're going to just use the modifiers, but if you're playing in person, you can use tokens and roll those together, and then count everything up as it stands. And if you roll your hope dice higher than your fear dice, you roll with hope, and then you mark a hope on your character sheet. Now, this is important because obviously your hope is a very liquid currency. It will be coming and going very quickly based on what I anticipate. However, if you roll with fear, I get to take a fear token for use later. So with fear, sometimes you might have an experience that applies to a roll. Maybe you have expert climber and you're attempting to scale a wall, or eagle eye and you're trying to spot tracks in the dirt. You can spend hope before you roll to describe how that experience helps you and adds its value to your roll. So this is why I say that liquid currency is going to be spent quite a bit, is because you are encouraged to use hope situationally in these kind of cases to maybe add experience to give you a better success if you feel it's necessary to in that situation. And lastly, let's talk about spellcast rolls. Those are action rolls using your spellcast trait, which will be on your foundation card if you are a spell caster. For example, Marlowe's spellcast trait is Instinct. Okay, any questions so far before I go on to the next one?
Nope.
Okay, so how the dice rolls affect the story. So, all right, we've talked about how the dice, let's talk about how the dice roll. Let's talk about what they do in the story. Usually, I'll set a difficulty for the roll based on the situation, like 6 or 14 or 25, and your goal is to meet or beat that number. If an ability or a spell has a number on it, like spellcast roll 13, that's the difficulty of the roll. If you succeed, you get what you wanted. If you don't, you fail and something new happens in the story because of it. Hope and fear also play in with it. If you succeed with hope, that means you accomplish your goal and all is well, and you can continue to pass the scene around the table to other players as you like. Success with fear means you do it, but there is a consequence or complication. So I'll get to make what we call a GM move. So the way I like to think about these is this is kind of like how Monster of the Week in PBTA works, is that if you guys mess up, I get to make moves based on what I have available for my own currencies.
Right.
So this means I'll change the story in some way. You might have to mark a stress. Bad guys might attack. The environment might change, or something else entirely. The move I make won't undermine your success. You will get what you wanted, but it means I'll continue to push the story we're telling forward in an exciting way. If you roll a failure with hope, you don't get what you wanted, but things don't go as badly as they could. I'll still make a move in line with whatever the fiction may be, and I'll turn things back to the rest of the table. Now, if you roll failure with fear, situation goes really bad, and I'll get a move, and I'll probably raise the stakes, and the consequences will become very dire, or possibly, who knows. Saving the best for last. If you ever roll 2 of the same number, no matter what the number is, that is a critical success in Daggerheart. You get what you wanted and a little extra. You get to mark a hope, and you can clear a stress. So, if you have one. And if it's an attack roll, you get to add the maximum your damage dice could roll as a modifier to your damage roll. So, if you deal 1d4 plus 4 damage, you'd add 8 to the roll. So that's a little complicated, but does that make sense?
So just to make sure I heard right, that's any roll of doubles is a critical success?
Correct.
So if you roll 2 1s, that's still a critical success? Okay.
Yep. So it doesn't have to be above the target number like we've seen in other systems.
Right. That's exactly what I was checking.
Hey, are you calling out Fabula Ultima here? Okay.
No, I was just making sure that I was just making sure.
Yeah, I get you. No, but that is true. So if you roll doubles of any kind, that's critical success. No need to worry about target numbers. Next, so for combat, Finally, we're going to talk about combat. If you want to attack a target, you'll ask me if it's in range of your weapon. If it is, you can make an action roll with that weapon using the trait it calls for. This is called an attack roll. And if you succeed against the target, then you'll make a damage roll. Looking at the damage dice of your weapon and roll what it says. Then tell me the total and whether the damage is physical or magic. When a fight breaks out, typically people in person would put down an action tracker, and then you would put your characters on the action tracker to indicate that you're going to be going. And I would put little tokens on the action tracker represented by each of you to say, this is basically how much currency I have to respond. So when any player rolls with a failure or fear, I can use my GM move to spend as many as those tokens as I want to activate the enemies. We'll see it all in action soon, but for now, let's get into the next part. So any questions before we finish up the game here, or finish up the beginning and get going?
No,
I think that makes sense.
It's not. I mean, honestly, before we begin, like I said, I was surprised at when I read through this and I kind of got into what I was looking at. I was like, it doesn't. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of gimmicky things, like a lot of new names to learn about this, but I really don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's actually as complicated as the 377-page manuscript.
May lead you to believe.
Leads you to believe, in all honesty, which is good. So, all right. Whew. Now I'm going to be stopping my monologue, and we'll be going on. So this evening, your party finally made it to the Sablewood, a sprawling forest of colossal trees. Some say are even older than the Forgotten Gods. It's a place renowned for two things: its sunken pathways that provide the trade routes for many traveling merchants, and its unique hybrid animals. Even now, from within your carriage, you can hear strange sounds: the bird calls of lark moths, the croak of lemur toads, and the skittering of a family of fox bats in the underbrush. One of you is driving the carriage. Who is it?
I would say that's probably me driving the carriage.
Okay.
That seems like something that, I would do. So,
all right. So as you drive through the Sablewood, you notice something unique about the look of the trees. What is it?
Something unique about the trees in Sablewood.
Mm-hmm.
It's like thinking.
It's an odd question.
The leaves in the Sablewood are all kind of grayish. They're all kind of grayish silver, as opposed to the normal green color in other parts of the forest.
Nice. It's different.
Well, a sable ferret fades from like green to or not green, like brown to a grayish. So.
Okay. All right. So as you're traveling, it may just be a trick of the light. You're not sure, but they feel exceptionally gray. Under the leaves produce some pretty deep shadows. And as your steed pulls the carriage around a corner a little faster than you anticipated, one of the wheels comes off the ground for just a moment. Just ahead, you see an overturned merchant's cart lying sideways in the path before you, blocking your way. A scattering of fruits and vegetables litter the trail. From around the side of the carriage steps a Strix wolf, a large creature with the body of a wolf, the face of an owl, and large wings adorning its back. It seems to be finishing a meal. The hand, possibly of the merchant of the carriage, and as it stares at you, curious, trying to judge whether you're friend at foe. Then you see, following clumsily behind, two small pups, watching their parent cautiously. From within, the rest of you feel your carriage come to a stop. What would you like to do?
Well, having stopped the carriage, the first thing I'd do is just try and like yell at the Strix wolf to scare it off.
Okay.
Are they sentient creatures? Like, do they speak?
No, they
No, it's
they
literally it's an animal. Okay,
they are an animal.
And I'm trying to scare them off like I would a
Okay.
wolf or a bear.
Okay, so you like, what would that look like? Is that just like, "Hey, wolf, wolf, wolf," or
Yeah, just yelling at them, telling them to go, that sort of thing.
Making your body big so you appear to be a bigger target.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glad that the horse is calm because a predator usually will set a horse off. So I'm trying to keep the horse calm too.
Okay. So Jeff, before we go to the first roll of the night, you hear this kind of hooting and hollering coming from outside the carriage, obviously from Garrick. Do you take any actions?
Yeah, I stick my head out the window and see if I can see what's going on.
Okay. Well, basically, you see, as Garrick had just previously seen, a strick wolf with two pups, and it's kind of chewing on something with its beak. Brent, since you're the one that's kind of hooting and hollering at this point, why don't you go for it and make for me a let's use your presence trait for this.
Okay, one sec. My demi plane crashed, so give me just a second.
Okay.
No, that's not good.
Unless you want to just tell, do you have it up? Do you know what my plus is?
I do.
+1?
It's a -1 for your presence.
-1.
Yep. And it looks like your two experiences are affable and hit them hard.
Right, which neither will impact this roll. Because I'm not speaking. Affable would be speaking friendly to them, and I'm not.
Okay.
So that's 16 with hope.
All right. So go ahead and mark a hope on your character sheet. And so you basically, knowing that, you're making yourself big, kind of screaming at it, hey, Wolfie, other kind of calls that you've known to kind of scare other types of wildlife off in the past. You see that the Strix owl kind of looks at you, takes a moment, judges your presence, and then after a moment of chewing, you see it kind of do a final like gulp, and it seems to have cleared whatever last little piece of morsel, and it quickly puts its two pups on its back. It does look as though it also, after it does that, it kind of gives a yell / screech. The Strix wolf is very loud considering its size, but I don't know if you guys remember, but like if a wolf howls, it can be heard for miles around. But imagine that being less like a wolf howl and more like a owl screech. It's a very painfully loud thing.
That is, yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
Mhm. So it does look as though it seems to be backing away, though, towards the thick underbrush.
Okay, which was what I intended, so I'm happy about that.
Okay.
So once that I think the Strix wolf is gone,
Mhm.
I look over at Marlo, who I see peeking their head out, and say, "We should probably get out and check the caravan. We're gonna have to clear it away, anyways.
I agree.
But be careful. There was a Strix wolf out here, so if they come back, we want to be careful."
I will get out of the carriage and grab my staff.
Okay. So getting out of the carriage, I mean, it is a little bit earlier in the evening, so there is still light coming through the canopy. But you do see that the merchant's cart itself has been fairly well toppled over. Looking more closely, you see that the cart has been stripped of what seems to be anything valuable. It seems like all that's really left are wasted general goods and other like foods and stuff like that. It doesn't seem as though all of those were taken. And then, of course, you do see the body of a driver, probably a merchant or something like that. Of course, the driver is missing an arm. That's probably what the Strix wolf was eating there. But upon further inspection, it doesn't look as though the arm was the main concern that he had. It looks as though the driver had their neck slit.
Well, I kind of assumed they were robbed once I found out that it was stripped of everything that wasn't just food. So that's what I say. Looks like the driver got their necks. Looks like somebody robbed them, killed the driver, and looted the carriage.
Are there any other bodies that you can see?
Yeah, I just continue to look through the carriage.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking as well. So
I assume Marlowe's in the back, and I went up to the front to look at the driver.
Okay.
What happened to the horse? Are the horses dead or just gone?
They're gone. So it seems as though that it's just the cart at this point. Why don't you go ahead and Brent, since you're kind of like surveying the scene and everything like that, why don't you go ahead and make an instinct roll for me?
All right.
And while he's doing that, Jeff, what were you doing while he was surveying the?
he was looking at the front of the carriage. I was looking around the back
The carriage, or like around the area?
or the wagon. Yeah, just all of it.
Is it a wagon or a carriage? Is it enclosed or not enclosed?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and say it's not enclosed and it's more like a cart.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm poking through whatever, crates, tumbled, seeing if anything is watched, and also trying to, look into the edge of the trees or the brush to see if anything is looking at us.
Or anybody crawled off.
Or if it looks like anybody crawled off, if there's any, just kind of surveying the area.
Okay. So why don't you roll for me, and I'll explain what happens with Brent's dice rolls. So
I rolled 20 with hope, by the way.
Great. So add another hope. So what you notice as you go through the cart and everything like that, it is odd because obviously the horse is gone. It seems as though it's been picked through, and the guy seems like he was more murdered rather than he was waylaid by a Strixwolf. But you see that there's the remnants of thorny bramble tangled around the wheel of the carriage and strewn across the road. Okay.
So like somebody used a trap or
So like
magic.
somebody placed, yeah.
So yeah, I tell you, it looks like there's some sort of trap. It looks like brambles. Can you tell if it's magic or not?
Yes, I have a class feature that's Arcane Sense. I can sense the presence of magical people and objects when I'm close to them.
Okay. All right. So
This is the good old days. Tech magic.
Is that passive, or is that like
that's an experience? No, that's not an experience. That's
it's a class feature.
So looking at
I guess my question is, does it just happen, or does it say you have to focus on it?
It just says I can sense it.
Yep. Okay, so it just happens. Okay.
So looking at the brambles and everything like that, you don't think that it's it doesn't come off as magical, and it looks like it was just a creative use of materials to basically catch the cart and trip it up.
They appear to be common brambles. I've never seen them used like this as a trap, but apparently it was effective.
Okay. Yeah, neither have I.
So, and as you're kind of examining the brambles themselves, Jeff, go ahead and roll me an instinct roll.
Okay. A 15 with fear.
Ooh, fear. I will take that fear, but you do succeed.
Do I lose a hope? I just don't.
No. I get a fear out of the deal.
You get a fear out of it. Okay, that's
cool. So this is my bank of DM meta currency to use as I see fit here. So so as you're kind of looking and you're kind of examining for any arcane elements that may be tied to these brambles, you hear the sounds of a branch snapping and turn to see 4 thistle folk sneaking through the underbrush, attempting to get a jump on you and your party. The overturned cart was a distraction, but it doesn't seem as though their plan worked. And so since we're going theater of the mind, I'm going to use some distance values here, if that's okay.
Well, you've got a pencil and a card and a toothpick and a stick pin and a penny and a yardstick and
That's true. That's true. So at this point, you can actually see that there 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 are four of them coming out of the woods, and they're actually close, which means that they're in this game that means that you're not close enough to hit with like a melee attack or something like that. You would have to move and do that to basically close the ground. One could say. But some people do like if like in your case, Brent, not Brent, Jeff, I believe you have with your staff. I believe your staff actually goes to range far. Is that correct?
it is far, yes.
Yeah. So when you look at that, that's when you notice that you would be able to attack at range using your staff.
Okay. I do yell out thistle folk, and I don't know, coming from
Yeah.
the trees or 9 o'clock or whatever relative position they are.
Sure. So this is what's going to be interesting about Daggerheart as opposed to other things. Now, normally what you would do is I would pull out an action tracker and I would put it on the table and we would basically say, go for it. Now, the difference though is that you guys basically get to decide how you want to go, whether you want to hold to your turn, whether you want to try to do a tag team thing, that one weird tag team thing once per session or something like that. So it's kind of up to you. And then what's going to happen is as you guys go, I'm going to build up action tokens that I'm going to react with based on how many I have to activate my little dude.
Well, Jeff, you saw him first, so you probably should go first.
Okay. And so
I'm trying to figure out what exactly I can do. Do I only have my domain effects? Are those the only two things I can do?
no.
Besides hit him with your stick.
You can attack with your stick. You have your domain effects. You may have other abilities, based on your subclass. You may have other abilities and all that stuff that you do too.
Yeah, I'm just going to try. I'm not going to use one of my spells. I'm going to try to attack with the staff.
Okay.
And so it says +2 instincts. So is that on the original roll?
Yeah. So you're going to roll you're going to roll 2d12. So the duality dice, and you're going to add +2 because it's based on your instinct.
Okay.
And then it's going to do
18 with hope.
18 with hope. Nice. So you take a hope as part of this.
Okay.
And then you're going to roll your damage, which is D8 +2.
All right. So that's just the standard, right?
Yeah, that's just a standard D8. Nothing special about it.
Oh, no, sorry, I meant the standard dice roller commands. 8
damage.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to post this in here just so you guys see what the thistle look like. There we go. Sorry for those people.
They don't look much. Yeah, they don't look much like thistles.
Okay.
Well, when you said thistle folk, I thought more it looked like thistles, not.
Yeah, I pictured more like leshies. I pictured more like leshies from Pathfinder than those look like frogs because they have 3 toes. Even 3 toes.
They look like evil frogs.
3 toes and webbed.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So just as a description, these particular folk, they look. The way I would think about them is I kind of feel like they're those like poison dart frogs in kind of demeanor. Like they have the skinnier head, skinnier body, and everything like that. But they have the.
So they are frogs.
They are. They definitely are frogs in this case.
And that thorn folk is more of a name than a description.
True. That is magical damage if it makes a difference, Mike.
Yep, it does. I'm not actually. I have to look. I don't think it actually mentions if thistle folk is a race or if it's just more like a community, or ancestry or community. I'll have to double check.
Okay.
But these ones look like they're tiny little toad.
Yeah, thanks for posting the picture.
Yeah, interesting.
And so you do 8 points of damage, you said?
Correct.
Okay,
6
so
+ 2.
why don't you describe to me how your magic activates when you use your staff?
Well, I
What it does.
kind of spin my staff over my head and, swing it down, and magical energy shoots out the end of the staff towards the closest thistle folk.
Okay. Is it more of like a lightning bolt, fireball, gust of wind?
Plasma,
Magic missile.
kind of energy kind of
Purple
thing.
darts.
All right.
Not necessarily lightning, but
So basically, you see that as they kind of as they make a move, because having them outnumber you, you can see that they're kind of fanning out. They have their wicked little daggers ready. You do see one that looks a little bit different, and he seems to be separating himself and staying behind the other group. But the one that you did see, the one that was the most forward of and maybe the bravest of them, as you hit it with a kind of a blast of plasma, you do knock it back. You can actually see that it kind of drops down to one knee and clutches where you held it, kind of covering with the dagger, but it moves. It still gets up and kind of tries to find a more defensible position.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and what do you guys want to do next?
So should I go?
Oh yes, Garrick, you should
I mean,
definitely.
technically, you could continue it. Like you could go. Marlo could go like several times in a row. Like that's the weird part about
Well,
it.
I'm basically moving up. Well, I'll just take my action. I'm basically moving up to protect Marlo and let her shoot people.
Okay, so kind of forming a kind of like your
Yeah, I'm in front of her.
Us being
guarding her.
separated doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so my goal would be to guard her until one gets close enough for me to hit.
Okay.
While Marlo continues to go blasting away.
All right. So are you going to make an attempt to either like maybe strike at the one that she already hit, or are you going to try to?
Is it close enough?
Yeah, you can close the difference and still keep yourself in line with most of them to prevent them from.
Then yeah, I will do that. So that should be just a normal roll and then +3 for my sword, right?
Yeah, so you'll just use the 2d12 plus 3.
14 with hope.
Nice.
Okay, so 14 with hope. That is enough to hit, and you're hitting the one that Marlo's already hit.
Well, if that's the closest one, then yes, whatever's closest.
Sure.
How much hope do you have now? Is that 4 or 5?
It's full, yeah.
Okay, so once you reach 5, no more.
You need to start spending some hope.
Yep. Do I have anything I can spend it on right now?
Can you spend it on actual?
I'm just seeing what I have really quick.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I could spend hope for hit him harder in this case. You fail a roll. It's when I fail a roll. So if I hadn't have hit them, I could have used a hope to re-roll that roll.
Oh, okay.
But I did hit them, so
you did.
I don't need to worry about it too much.
Yep, but you do also have a not good enough ability that when you roll your damage dice, you
right. That's on the damage. I completely forgot how to roll dice. Apparently,
it's exclamation point R.
Yeah. We're using 2 separate dice rollers, folks. One for the Daggerheart dice and one for the regular.
Oh, hey, guess what I'm using? I'm going to use my not good enough ability to re-roll that.
You're going to re-roll the worst possible damage roll you can get? Really?
Which,
1
by
plus
the way,
1?
it doesn't actually cost anything. So
no, it's just a domain.
Oh, really? It's just
an ability
cool I am?
that fighters have. Yeah, apparently.
Nice. How did you? Okay, are you? How did you roll the same exact result? That is
no one listening to this is going to believe it, but yes,
improbable, sir.
I rolled a 1 into another 1, which is the best result that can happen for me.
That's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. You hit him. That's what
I
matters.
did 2 physical damage.
I
To the
don't think
frog
this
that's
folk
just to the
like
frog that's
physical
just
damage.
sitting there. The frog
think
that's
it
just
hurts.
standing there.
So it almost like you guys had practiced it. Marlowe had thrown the ball of plasma, and you had kind of quickly followed up with a charge at the thistle folk. You slashing down. You find that that's actually enough to enough to take care of the business, even though it's
Way
probably
to
the
go,
worst.
Garrick.
Oh, cool.
Let's go.
That was I thought it was kind of funny because by attacking that one, it was enough to do it. So now, are you guys more of the fight to knock out, fight to kill, fight to?
I would say.
How does damage work in the game?
Yeah, right now I'd say we're more of a fight to knock out until we find out that
Well, I mean, we could say you subdue them, kind of take that approach if you want to not leave.
Well, I mean, they did just
bigger
kill this
corpse.
guy.
Well, they did, but I'd like to find. Well, I guess if we want to find out, we only need to leave 1 or 2 of them alive.
Probably the one that looks fancy.
I don't imagine this game uses what do we call it? What's the euphemism? Advanced questioning techniques.
Well, I killed that one. If I kill that one, it's dead.
Okay, it's dead.
I
That's
will
fine.
probably only try and keep the one that looks important alive
Okay.
if we discuss that mid combat somehow.
Sure.
If you say try to leave one alive, then we'll call it good.
I will say we may want to try to subdue the one that's hanging back. You notice how he looks a little different?
The one with the fancy hat, gotcha.
Yeah, that's how you identify them in every fantasy game, right? The guy with the slightly better clothing.
That's how I do.
Fancy hat, better boots.
Even if he knows nothing, that's how I always say.
Nice
he's more
fawn
important.
gloves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So the other thistle folks seem to be the other ambushers seem to be a little bit surprised by the sudden ferocity in your guys' attack and everything like that. So they do stand a little bit more guardedly. Are you guys going to make any more?
I'm going to attack the one that looks a little different. Apparently, I'm the bloodthirsty one tonight.
And I once again am just standing and trying to guard, so she can blast away.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Critical.
It is a critical 24.
Jeez.
It was double 11s plus 2. I don't know. I don't think the plus matters on the. I don't know anything about the critical hits.
No, it's just the 2 dice matter.
Yeah, it's just the 2 dice. So you do roll a dice, but then you add as a modifier the maximum value of the.
So it's 1d8 plus 2, because is it just your level? For
No,
damage?
it's not. It's the maximum. Like it's the value. So it's like 1d8 plus 8.
Oh, 1d8 plus 8 plus the modifier.
Plus the 2.
I think that's what it's kind of impressing upon.
So
me.
1d8 plus 10.
Let me just double check.
Okay, yeah, double check.
I mean, that makes sense.
Okay, critical successes and damage. If the attack roll is a critical success, roll the damage as usual, then add extra damage equal to the maximum. Oh, so you do roll the damage as usual, and then you just add the 8. Or
okay. So I could do it 1d8 plus 10, or I could do 1d8 plus 2, and we'll just add 8.
Correct.
We'll do it as the rules say. I just did an exclamation point. Okay, Brent, I rolled it correct once and then screwed it up. So
I just ruined how I broke everybody's brain screwing it up 3 times when I was trying to roll.
6 and then plus 8, Mike, would be 14.
Okay. You summoning quite the powerful burst of magic. You
vaporize the frog.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
so basically
trying to knock this one unconscious if I do enough.
I mean, basically, that's what do we need to, because that's our intent.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so basically what happens here is that, as you hit it with a blast of flame, knocking it down, you can see that it's not moving. And if Marlo has carefully moderated her power, then maybe it'll be unconscious.
Okay.
So apparently you should describe everything as lightning, because lightning can just, tase people with it.
I can just tase people.
Okay.
I think the plasma can do the same thing. And
Well,
a little gentle shock through the body.
Since you guys are kind of feeling a little bit good about what you're doing here, and you guys are rolling a lot of successes, which I don't like. Just kidding. I'm going to spend a fear and do something a little bit different. So, as you had charged out in front, and basically knocked down that one, the other one went down. You kind of had broken their formation right out of the gate. When that one who seemed to be kind of moving to the side leaps at an immense leaps immensely quickly, almost faster than you were able to perceive, being like right up in there and kind of ducking underneath your guard. What he does is he kind of puts his shoulder there and he grabs your chest, Brent, with his hands, and you could feel like it press against it. And you suddenly feel kind of feel like a pressure. So I'm going to make an attack roll, and we're going to see how well Mike does. Okay, what's your evasion again? Your
9.
evasion is 9. Okay. All right. So I do succeed. So basically, what you see happen is it almost feels like a slow motion as it kind of settles its chest in.
I have 7 armor, if it matters.
It will matter in just a moment here.
Okay.
So you can feel that the hand goes, and you know how when you see like like those things where someone kind of like shoulders somebody and they kind of push them back because they like it's a strong strike or something like that. Well, you basically got pushed really far backwards. So the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to do 2d8 magic damage for a total of 9 damage. And so that would be under your minor. That would be your minor under or just below your major threshold. So you could either mark one hit point and just take the damage, or you could use your armor slot, reduce that down by your armor value, and then in that case, I believe it would put it below your minor threshold, and then you would just get a stress.
So yeah, I will use an armor slot and then just get one stress box.
Okay. Yep. So 1 stress.
Right. Okay.
Yep. And then you now find yourself at far range from the group. So you basically got blown back by some sort of jujitsu.
Hey, Bruce Lee 1-inch punch you.
So how does damage work again? So 5 damage in 1 turn is mark 1 hit point.
Yeah. So just as a reminder, so when you take damage, you find out where the damage lands on your threshold. So 5 or so when you do, I think it's greater than. So 5 or more than 5 is going to be mark 1 hit point. More than 10.
Wait, I thought it was up to that. So like my minor says 3. I thought
it would be 1 to 5
minor.
would minor, and then 5 to 10 would be major, and then 10 to 15 would be severe.
Yep. So yeah.
Okay.
So minor is at 3 to 8, 3 to 7. Okay, my bad.
Okay.
I moved it over 1. But basically, once you reach that threshold, you'll mark 1 hit point, whatever that may be. And then once you've decided, hey, do I want to take 1, 2, or 3 hit points? Because you really don't get a lot of hit points based on your character class or anything like that.
So wait, how many did he do? 7?
He did 8 points of damage.
So it would be.
I'm sorry, he did 9 points of damage.
So that would still be a minor either way.
If you did a minor, then if you took your armor, you would reduce it by 7. So that'd take it down to 2 for you.
Right, because 5 to 10 is a major. Okay. I was just making sure I understood how so it's worth using the armor.
If you,
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, it depends on where you are in your
Yeah, how much
stress
stats
thing.
do you have, Brent? I've only got 3, so I could only do that 3 times.
Yeah, I can only do it 3 times too.
Okay, everybody can. Okay.
Yeah. So my apologies. So it's basically that number on your guide or higher is that next level of threshold.
Yeah, so I just took a stress.
Yep. Okay. And then you mark off
Okay,
an
so you
armor.
knocked it down. Okay.
Boy,
Yep, I got it.
yeah, I'm not. Don't know if I'm as big of a fan of.
That will get easier once you have that.
I think I think
in
once
your
we
head,
understand
it's
it,
fine.
yeah, once it becomes second nature, but
Yeah.
it's a little odd at this point.
Mhm.
And then basically, if you take, for example, 6, if I have 5 stress marked, what happens then?
If you can't take any more stress, usually you'll take a hit point.
Okay, and then if you max out hit points, you're dead.
Then you go into that what happens next part of
There's
that.
there's
Right,
like
right.
3 or
There's 3
4
things you can
different-
do, but basically it's die or not. Like
Mhm.
basically it's make a choice to die or not is what it is, and that's what I
Yep.
want. That's what I ask. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So, and you can be awarded stress outside of combat and everything like that too.
Right. I know. Yeah. I have some
All
ability
right.
to do that.
Okay. So, so yeah, that was its turn.
I cast my cold glare on the one that just did that to Garrick, and the message that I'm conveying is that he just made a list.
All right.
Just saying. I'm not saying he cares. I'm saying he's on the list.
Mhm. Okay. So, in this case, I'm going to spend an action point to activate the other guy, just as in response to him going, and I'm going to attack you, Jeff, with the other thistle heart ambusher.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What's your evasion?
9.
Okay. So he goes in for he jumps in closer. And he does seem to miss. But what it does seems as though he also does, it seems as though he's putting himself in between you and the other thistle folk that sent Garrick
The
sprawling
fancy.
backwards.
Is that the fancy one that hit me then?
Yeah. Basically
I
came up.
No, I targeted the fancy one, I thought.
But you didn't kill it
The
apparently.
second time.
Yeah, it wasn't dead.
Yeah, it wasn't dead.
Okay.
And for some reason I thought you targeted the
No.
No, he
Oh.
targeted.
That's why I was going to not. That was why I was saying I was going to try to knock him out.
Yeah, he definitely targeted the fancy one.
Okay.
So the fancy one's already taken damage. So there's actually 3 guys still up then.
Technically, yes, because I made a terrible, terrible mistake there.
Sorry, I wasn't.
No, it's my
Nope.
bad. I was apparently not paying attention.
Yeah, so the fancy one is close to dead, right?
Mhm.
So you were just attacked, Jeff.
Yep.
Do you want me to go or do you want to go?
I'll let you go if you want to. If you want to get back into this.
Yeah, I'll just attack whichever one's closest again.
I'm assuming that's the guy on me now.
Okay. So in this case, what I'd like you to do is roll an agility roll to get back to the group, or unless you have something that you can use at range.
No.
I'll see what happens with his agility roll.
Sorry, I'm going to check the modifier. $25
With hope.
with hope.
Can you spend hope to improve your rolls? Because you're at the maximum hope points, right, Brent?
Yep. Yeah, but we're not giving him anything either, so that's nice.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because it feels like this is a very lopsided fight because I don't seem to be getting a lot of hope points. I'm getting action points, which I'll try to spend them here in a moment.
Oh, hey, Brent, you can if there's a way that you can help me, You can explain how you're aiding me and give me 1d6 advantage die to my action roll. So you can help others, but you can't help yourself.
So what I've done is I've moved up and I'm basically pulling the one off, physically pulling the one that's off of Marlowe, allowing her to attack the one that hit me.
Oh.
And I'll spend a hope for that to help, because I think that's a hope thing, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yep. Okay.
All right. Then I will attack the fancy one.
Yep. And I just rechecked my math. The fancy one didn't go down, but he is definitely singed.
Okay. So with advantage, I get a 1d6
to hit.
And so if
will it roll advantage? It's at it. Well, the dice. I'm sorry. Let me explain. I'll use my words. The dice roller looks like it's wanting me to put something in the advantage box. Do I just put 1d6
just hit a plus?
Just hit a plus.
Just hit a plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then if I need to add my 2, do I tab again?
Yeah, you should be able to do modifier as well.
And then modifier. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. And then I can add the +2 there.
Yep.
And we'll look. 22 with hope.
Okay. Yeah, you do hit.
I will do a D8 +2.
You only rolled a 1 on your advantage die, though, which is funny.
That is funny. Sorry, Mike.
It's okay.
I told you, I apparently broke everybody's brain by rolling 2 1s in a row on the damage.
9 additional damage.
Okay. All right. That does look like that's enough to take down his hit points to at least an unconscious state.
I would be happy with unconscious.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and activate the thistle folk. And I'm going to have one of the thistle folk close in on you, Jeff, and the other one to...
No, the other one's already, tangoing with Garrick.
Yeah. And the other one to attack Garrick there. Okay. So D20.
Are you spending fear to do that?
No, action points. So I use the action points that you've been giving me, these little guys, to basically activate my mobs effectively. So that's why there's no real initiative, is that in response to you guys, what typically is supposed to happen is that I can. But
you have to say, do you have to say you're using those action points? Because I was going to do something. So okay.
I say I use the action points and I pull one off and spend it to activate all the folks there.
And do we know how many?
It activates.
Would we know at the table the action points you have?
Well, if you had, if we were at the table, I've been trying to keep it here.
Yeah, we'd be.
I'm not saying you're hiding it, Mike.
We're just checking.
It's an informational question.
I just have it here, which is why it would be nice to do.
We're just checking for mechanics reasons. Yes, normally we would know how many fear points he has and how many. Okay. We'd be able to see how many fear points he has and how many.
Yeah, I expect to get hit back. I don't. I'm not saying that.
We'd be able to see his resource. We'd be able to see his resources. Yes.
Yeah, yes. I've been just to keep myself honest. I've been keeping them here because it is a meta currency for all those kind of things.
Yeah. Of course.
So like when I spend fear, I move one over.
I expect you to get a second camera to focus on
Jesus.
the.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding.
If you can't trust the GM, who can you trust?
Yeah, so you can't trust the GM, which is interesting why they have meta currencies, because meta currencies kind of control GM action. Now I do have to say that so I can use action tokens to like gain fear at the end of the fight if I haven't been able to use a lot and all those kind of things, or if the fiction seems to make sense, I can use action tokens to then do it then as well. So which is well, it's just kind of interesting because like I'll have to take a look at that a little bit more closely, but it feels like if you guys have a good run of it, the most common ways that I get to make GM moves are either if you guys fail or if you guys roll with fear. And you guys have not rolled with fear.
I did
And,
once. I did once.
Yeah.
Well, not in this combat though.
No.
Okay,
And
fair enough.
that's the only thing that I would say is you need to make, like, if we could just go, you need to make sure you declare for, like, I'm spending an action point to go before you. So that's more what I was asking.
No,
Which is weird. Which is weird because it's weird that as the GM usually you're like, I'm just gonna do something, but in this you have to like make a declaration.
Well, I think it just kind of prevents like total GM fiat to be like, okay, well, since we're not using like an initiative situation,
right? Well, it also
You know,
prevents
that's
the players from just railroading over everything that you do.
Yeah. So it is.
So make your Froggo actions.
Yeah, they're kind of a little bit stuck because right now there's 2 frogs and two humans to kind of see what's going on here. Or not.
Yeah,
two-
they seem
two
they seem
players.
braver when there's more of them.
An elf and a human. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the one on Garrick definitely misses, and the one on Marlowe sneaks an attack in.
Okay.
And that is for 13 total damage. And so when I meant sneak an attack in, gashed a pretty nasty wound pending.
Holy crud.
Probably use your armor.
Well, 13 is a severe for me, right?
Yes.
So if I use an armor slot, I take 5 off and go down to 8, and it's still a major, and I lose 2 hit points.
Correct.
2 hit points, not stress.
2 hit points. Yeah, and 2 hit points is so that I don't have to mark off 3. Can I spend a second armor slot? I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, you can spend
13's a lot. Holy crap.
Yeah, but the armor you can fix one during downtime.
Yep.
All right, I'll use 2 to take it down to a minor and mark 1 hit point off. I used 2 armor slots.
Yeah, and just so you know, you can use as many armor slots as you have available, up to the total that you have remaining. So if you have a nasty hit like this one seems to be, you could.
This is bad. I'm still only going to use 2.
Okay.
And if you use 2, that brings it down to just a stress.
No, if I used it was a severe, Brent. So I took it down to a minor.
Yeah, so
it was 13 minus 10.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 is still a minor for me. Mark 1. My
thresholds
are different than yours.
Yeah, but when I took a minor, you said it was a stress.
No, if it's below a minor, it's a stress.
Oh, okay.
So if you take 1 point of damage and that's below
okay, so I was confused on that. Gotcha. So I don't have any stress. I have 1 hit point gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the.
No, that was right because I took it down to 2. Okay.
Yeah, you took it down to 2, which is under your 5, so that should just be a stress. I think. Okay.
But like 1 to 3 for you should be a minor. If it's over 3, it's a major.
No. 1 and 2 is a stress. 3 to 7 is a minor. 8 to 12 is
12 is a 8 to 12 is a major, and 13 plus is a severe.
So for me, it's 1 to 4 is a minor. And then 5
to 1 to 4 would be a stress.
Right, is a minor. That's a minor. Yeah, below a minor. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the terminology is that's a weird damage abstraction that the term it's not bad. It's just gonna take that would take getting used to.
It's not the most intuitive thing that I've ever done.
Well, yeah, it's a damage abstraction, and anytime there's that extra step in any sort of damage abstraction, it's like steps in Earthdawn. Anytime there's that weird abstraction in the middle, it's a little confusing until you get used to it.
Yes. Okay, but that's okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I really wish that guy had done 12 damage, and so it was just a major.
Minor, yeah.
That 1 extra point, like kick. That's the category, right? That the break point.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I took the hit. I got it down to a minor, but I took the hit point.
So now I'm gonna hit the one that I restrained.
Yeah. So yeah, go for it. Token.
15 with hope. Is it a token when we make an action or when we fail an action?
Yeah, basically that's how I build up my action points.
It's whenever we take an action.
So when you guys take an actions.
Gotcha.
So
15
Like
with
for
hope.
every action, so you could theoretically counterattack after every attack.
No. Well, the most common times that I'm supposed to make a move is when PCs roll with failure or fear. So technically, I could attack anytime those kind of things happen.
Okay.
But like if we succeed, I guess I'm asking if we succeed at hitting you,
Mhm.
do you get an action token?
Well, I succeed whether you hit or miss, according to what I'm reading here.
What do you mean you succeed whether you hit or miss?
Well, so I get an action token when you take an action. So the
Right,
outcome of your
that's what
action.
I'm checking. That's what I'm. Yes, that's what I'm asking.
But
Is
you
if
get a
I think
bonus one if we also succeed with fear or fail with fear, or
anytime we roll fear, he would get a second action. He gets a fear token.
you get
He
additional one.
gets a fear token, which fear
Mhm.
can be used to take an action, which is separate than
The
Mhm.
action.
the action token. You get an
Yeah.
action. He gets a response token anytime we do anything, and then fear he gets an extra token.
Yeah,
that he gets
yeah.
to-
This is going to take a little while. I'm
The
not
only
saying
reason
that it's not an
the
okay
funny part
system.
is the reason it makes sense to me is because of Doom tokens in Conan.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So-
fine. I don't expect us to take 15 turns in a row with no response. Like that is ridiculous. So that's okay.
But yeah, that makes sense. If we take an action,
But if he's got using the action things and can't, the action points to
Yeah.
respond,
It's
then
just-
he can't use the action points to do other jackassery.
Well,
So
I
it's
mean, technically, I
15
could spend a lot of action points in one turn. It just what it does is it gives me a certain amount of jackassery I can do.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
if that makes sense, and of course, I have fear tokens that I can also spend to do jackassery as well.
Right.
Probably wouldn't use those in like the opening fight of a.
Does 15 with hope hit?
Yes, it does.
Nice. Hey, good damage.
And 6 points of damage.
Okay. So 6 points of damage.
That's against the one that I restrained. Just so you know.
Yeah, the one that hit me.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how we know them. I'm sure they have names and backgrounds and
Nah.
detailed character concept. This one's
Okay.
named Steve.
Okay. So basically the one that you have restrained that was attacking Jeff's character, then there's the second one.
The
restrained one is the
just
one that I
attacked
hit.
me.
The restrained one is the one that I hit, which is it still alive?
Okay. So yes. I'm going to go ahead and have the one that isn't restrained. He's going to use his turn and he's going to bounce he's going to bounce off screen. He can see that this is not exactly a winning fight for him. Where is it? But he's gonna basically make he's gonna hoof it into the woods.
I'll let the one go and kick it in the ass and let it go too. We have the leader, with the one that I think is the leader, which is most important in my opinion.
Okay.
Marlo can zap it as it's running away.
Although they seemed real protective of him. Maybe we can't get the leader to talk, but maybe we can threaten the others. Like
we could probably get the leader to talk.
I hate. Okay, this is the part of this is I don't. Maybe it's my brain. This is the part of role playing. Like we get them to talk. Like
we're assuming there's a purpose.
I'm certainly going to use my presence role to charm them.
Other than robbery.
Yes, they'll probably tell us. They're probably very proud of their plan.
Okay. Sure. So the one that you have restrained, are you going to do anything else to it?
He said he was going to let it go and kick it in the ass.
That's the one.
Oh, okay. That one you're going to let go as well. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it also runs off into the woods. Basically leaving you with one that you had kind of slain outright and the other one which is on the ground. How do you proceed from there?
We will bind his hands and feet.
Okay.
Indeed.
All right. So
Well, any of the ones that are alive.
just the one. The other one
Okay.
didn't make it.
There we go.
So in terms of your so I guess in terms of what you have now, do you wait for it to wake up, or do you just kind of like a sack of potatoes, put it in the carriage, and then
I think we tried to gently wake him up, splash some water on his face.
Well, I mean, I start clearing. I'll let Marlo, question it while I start clearing the road so we can get on with our business after this. So yeah, I'll clear the road. That's my idea. Well, you wait for him to wake up.
Okay. So so Brent, you go and you start clearing everything, and Jeff, you kind of like tap the thistle folk on the face, and eventually one of the bulbous eyes kind of opens up, kind of one and then the other, and it takes it a moment, but you can tell that it like focuses on you and kind of strains against the bindings that you have in place.
You're securely tied. Why did you attack us? We did nothing to provoke you.
He looks at you and kind of like gauges his response, and he looks and he says, well, anybody that passes through these woods needs to pay the fine for passage. Most times we just take the fine. We find it more agreeable for us.
I mean, that is an odd approach, but if it works for you, I suppose it works for you. Who is we?
Well, me and my mates. And he kind of, looks around to see, and he sees the one on the ground, and obviously that one is passed. But
There's one dead. There easily could have been a second, and your third friend ran on his own.
Mm-hmm.
We let the second one go.
Okay. Well, he kind of looks, and he doesn't respond to it. You can tell he seems like he's already made up his mind about a few things, but there might be a sense of relief a little bit about the fact that his mates are not dead. Some of them, at least.
So,
is there a town that we know of?
Well, you're on your way to Hush, and you're pretty close to it as is.
Can you provide us safe passage to Hush in light of our goodwill of allowing your companions to survive? And you?
I think we should just sit him in the front of the carriage with me, and we'll just take him into Hush, and that Hush can deal with him. I mean, they murdered one of the merchants.
Oh, I forgot they murdered the merchants. Sorry.
Yeah, we should wrap him up and take his body in too.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Is there any other dangers on the road to Hush that we need to know about?
He mentions that the Sablewood is full of dangers.
Okay, well,
Thank
we'll have you
for your generic warning.
All right, we'll have you to throw in front of them. I look forward to your patronage. So yeah, we tie him up as good as we can, and I'll put him in the front next to me, and then unfortunately, that means Marlo is going to have a much quieter traveling companion in the carriage proper after I wrap the merchant up in some sort of canvas or whatever we have available.
Okay.
Yeah, we should take the merchant and the other. I mean, I should have two companions in the back, unfortunately.
The other what?
The other thistle folk.
Oh, well, it's dead.
So's the merchant.
Well, yeah, but the merchant has family in town.
Let's take them both back, as long as we're wrapping up dead bodies in blankets.
All right, I let you do that with the thistle folk then, because
okay.
I don't think we should be taking him back. So you can do that while I'm loading the.
Okay. I'll do that. I think it's still appropriate.
Fancy hat and the
thistle folk may have family as well.
Corpseman back up not in the village, I assume,
or outside the village.
Well, they can come get him out here.
Maybe he just made a couple of bad decisions, Brent. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Alrighty.
Fell in with the wrong crowd.
Garrett goes, okay. I think I cleared it enough. I think I cleared the path enough to get the carriage through. And I'll sit him up with me, and then the merchant's already in the back of the caravan wrapped up.
Okay. So sure, yeah. I mean, so you have the ability to kind of travel forward. You cleared the bramble out of the way and everything like that, and getting back to the traveling at hand. It doesn't take you too long for you to reach Hush. 1 second. I'm gonna have this cough till the end of days here. Whew. So, you can see that the little thistlewood or the thistle folk doesn't seem to be happy to be going to Hush, but I mean, it is what it is for him at this point.
I mean, he can talk. I haven't gagged him yet.
What's that?
Yeah, we
I mean,
didn't gag him.
He can talk. I haven't gagged him yet.
He's tied to the
Yeah,
coat, so he can't jump off.
He's obviously playing the strong silent type. He above worrying about the consequences of his actions.
I pat him on the head when we get into Hush.
Okay.
Aw, you did good.
So the kind of glares at you as much as a person that's tied up can glare at another person.
I mean, they can glare pretty effectively. I mean, they have a lot of eye movement they can do, but that's about it.
Singularly focused on you. So the path leads you further into the forest until you spot a large stone pillar carved top to bottom in ancient dwarven symbols. This denotes one corner of the peaceful village of Hush. When you pass beyond the stone marker, you feel a small sensation, like the pop of a bubble. Then sounds of friendly chatter become louder. Though the trees of the Sablewood are unchanging here, there is a distinctive, safe, and comforting air. A few smiling faces turn to you as your carriage rolls in, waving or casting a warm greeting towards the party. There's lively music drifting in your direction from a tavern at the center of town. You need to know where to find the Whitefire Arcanist to deliver the package from the king. What would you like to do?
Stop a passerby and ask where the constable is. Drop off the prisoner first.
Okay. So as you kind of get close into town, the first person that you see is somebody that looks like they're playing a game by themselves, but far too energetically. It's a young child. They kind of are, picking up a stone, throwing it back, jumping, hopping, skipping, and all those kind of things. And it seems kind of late for a child to be out, but obviously they got a lot of energy.
If it's a child, I ask where their parents are.
The parents said that I have to be out here until I settle down.
Do you know where the sheriff's office is, or the constable's office, or whatever passes for the law in this town?
Oh yeah, of course. But my name's Fidget, though. Who are you?
Hi, Fidget. I'm Marlowe.
Oh, Marlowe. You don't look like you're from around here. Where are you from? And why is that one tied up?
He tried to kill us.
Sounds like a bad
That's why we need to see the sheriff.
Bad frog.
So he looks and says, "Oh, it's super easy to get to somebody that could help you with this. But I can take you there. Do you want me to take you there? It'll be super fast if you follow me. Well, your carriage might not be able to follow me, but
Can you take us on the road so we can stay in the carriage? We have some other passengers as well.
But it's so slow.
I know. I'm sorry, Fidget.
He says, "Yeah, okay. Well," and you can hear that he just yells in a direction, kind of like, "Mom, I'll be right back." And kind of like an amorphous yell comes from one of the houses on the side of the street. "Don't go too far." That kind of thing. And he says, "Follow him."
Okay.
Before leading you to down. It's not a very big village, but leading you down the street, down a way, and over to what looks to be a kind of a larger house. Each of the houses, they kind of have signboards and everything like that, and this seems to be a signboard for what passes for a marshal in this area.
Okay. I thank Fidget. Do I have some small coins, or they're just?
Yeah, you
gold?
can. Yeah, you have a handful. You have a handful of coins. So
I have
if
a
you want to give a couple coins to the child, you can.
I want to give a coin to the child and thank him.
He looks at it and he pockets it eagerly. It still stares at you.
You should go straight home, Fidget. Your mom said not to go too far.
Well, but I still haven't settled down. Are you sure I can't stay here and watch?
If you run home, maybe you'll settle down. Your
Run
mother would
home
want you to get
as
home safe.
fast as you can.
Okay. Kind of looks dejected, kicks to the dirt, and slowly walks away, kind of like looking over his shoulder to see if he's missing anything. Obviously, not taking the same speed at which he
Okay.
which he used to get you
We
there. You
should
know,
have offered him another coin to go faster.
If you race home, the next time we see you,
Or just, here's another coin to go away.
yeah, but he went away anyhow. He's a nice kid. I get out and knock on the marshal's office door.
Okay.
Or is it unlocked? If it's
yeah,
unlocked.
it's
I'll walk in.
So you basically see a gentleman kind of sitting behind a desk. Just it looks like he's either reading a book or doing paperwork. You can't really tell from your angle. It's just kind of laid flat out. He kind of looks up and says, "Oh, can I help you?"
Yes. Hi. We're travelers, and we were ambushed on our way into the Sablewood. We came upon the ambushers and a merchant they had slain. We have the dead merchant, a dead ambusher, and a live ambusher. 2 of the
No.
ambushers got away, but we'd like to
Oof.
turn them over to you.
Ooh, that is absolutely terrible. He comes over and kind of like inspects your cart from the door, and he says his name is Farron. There's not really a lot of need for marshals and all that kind of stuff around here. This is more of a perfunctory post. Somebody's got to do this job just in case stuff like this happens. And he goes over and he's like, "Oh, well, I can probably take him off your hand, but I won't be able to do much for the burial rites or anything like that. Mind if we go take a look at the merchant?"
No, if he has family, that's one of the reasons we brought him. What you do with the thistle folk, I don't know, but yeah, I take him, show him
Okay.
unwrap the merchants.
And he kind
And-
of gingerly takes the wrapping that you have and says, "Oh, well, this is Jib. He's not from here, but he has been through here quite a few times. He saw you. He was just outside the town, and he was killed in this ambush."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Garrick.
Yeah, I just say yeah and acknowledge, and I point to the tied up thistle folk. That seemed to be the leader of the little group that set up the ambush.
Okay. Well, yeah, it'll be something. But I'll see what we can do to get Jib back to his home and everything like that. We might have to make other arrangements and everything.
Thank you.
Well, let me take him off your hands. And he kind of goes and he gets like a rope and creates like a string between each of them, obviously, allowing them to walk into the building with him. And then he asks for your help to kind of like move Jib to a more,
Yeah, we'll move the bodies.
a more, a more respectful, or I guess a more restful place for him.
Yep, we help him throw him in the freezer.
The freezer.
Root cellar,
Ice house?
closet.
There's
Yeah.
magic in this place. There could be a magic ice house.
Yeah,
It
they
could
could have a
be.
magic
It could
ice
be.
house.
So once he kind of does that, he kind of looks at you and he says, "Well, thank you very much, strangers, for helping keep the roads safe. I mean, we rely on trade in and out of the Sablewood, on these roads, and anytime stuff like this happens, it always makes people just a little bit more cautious to come in." What brings you to?
You might
Yeah.
want to be careful too. We saw a Strixwolf with pups as well.
Mm.
She ate man flesh, so you might want to keep an eye out.
Okay. Well, thank you for the warning. But may I ask what brings you here? I mean, other than us fortune, the kind of a little fortune on taking care of one of the problems outside of the city.
We have business with shoot, I forgot, I didn't write that down. With our king's, I'm not going to tell him it's the king's business. I'm just going to tell him
What's
we
the
have business
location
with
we had to go to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
the whatever, the sacred flame or whatever. What was it, Mike?
the White Fire Arcanist.
Yeah, the White Fire Arcanist. And if he could direct us there, that would be appreciated.
Okay. Well, so I mean, if the Arcanist is she's pretty busy, but if you traveled so far, I'm sure she'd be more than hospitable. The town would be lost without her. She keeps this whole place under a powerful ward that no dangers from the Sablewood could pass. You'll find her house to the south through the farmland. It's hanging from one of the old Sablewood trees. You really can't miss it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. So then he bids it away and sets about a grim task of figuring out what to do with the
Dead
thistle.
bodies.
And he's got a prisoner.
I need to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. So yeah. So I guess we can kind of reflect on combat a little bit right now. Yeesh. There's a lot that happens in that combat. That's why I wanted to get these little markers so I could kind of.
Oh, the markers would have to help. You have to have some sort of token tracker.
Yeah, it's since a little tiny break. I don't know if normal streamers would basically just put "we'll be right back" or something like that. Yeah,
well, I don't know. We let people see what we're like when we're playing. I think they can see what we're like when somebody needs a bio break or a water break or a coffee break, whatever it is.
So if anybody else has played this and they're currently watching this stream, what are your thoughts? What are some of the things that you struggled with, ran into trouble, all that kind of stuff? Well, let us know. Otherwise,
it's just taking a little bit of time to get used to some of the rules and some of the, but it's certainly nothing feels unfamiliar. I haven't played as many games with where the hit points, where the damage is abstracted the way this is here. I mean, I understand it, and I'm not saying it's too complicated or anything. I just we'll see how I like it when I've you got to get, I don't know, a dozen you know what I mean? You got to understand the ebbs and flows and consequences of everything before you can make a decision on how something like that is, I think.
Yeah. No, it's true. And what's interesting about it is that because it's so alien from like an initiative perspective, because even the most odd games that I played with initiative have always kind of had like a turn order where the GM goes at some established time, kind of.
Sure.
I've never had the GM. And even no, I guess Monster of the Week and BBDA. I don't remember if the GM has a turn order. I think he just reacts in this kind of case. But it does feel like if it kind of takes the wind out of your sails if all that happens is you guys find a bunch of baddies, and if I can only go on a GM move or I spend fear, then basically you just go around pummeling them.
Yeah, that would be interesting. From a player standpoint, I said this when we first heard they weren't going to have initiative. I still think the players determining what we're going to do and in what order is good. Like,
being able to say I'm just
good.
going to keep going that's my only concern, because like you said, if you can't react, it's going to turn and it may get weird.
Yeah, he can react. I just think he wants to hoard a little bit so he can do cooler things.
Well, he can. I mean, technically, actually,
not that 13 damage wasn't cool.
Actually, action economy. You could still action. You could action economy the players still.
Yeah,
because we're bound to roll more. Like that was a weird combat, right?
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but everyone goes when he spends an action token.
Right.
The group
all
goes.
of them go. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so anytime all of them go, it can be dangerous for low number parties.
I think I can only activate one adversary during the.
Okay. Well then.
Yeah.
Well, you could still be like.
Well, that evens up the action economy because it's one action for every action of ours.
Right. Yeah.
And then the only thing that it was interesting is that the one suggestion that they had before we get back into this is that if you guys have a lucky streak, then I should basically spend fear to create a GM move so that I
Yeah.
can spend action tokens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's basically, and I think that's what I probably could that's how I didn't remember the spending fear part, so I just took away those 2 extra fear when I had the people go. So,
Yeah, that's that's your fallback is
mhm,
fear is your safety net for if the party's doing too well. Like
yeah,
that's
and
your safety net for that.
what really is interesting is that basically if you if you guys go on a streak where you're not rolling any of that, and all of a sudden, because every time you roll that action dice, or you make an action roll, I get a token. So bump, 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 bump. You know, I should build it up pretty quickly. So
That's
that's
true.
kind of
You
interesting.
should.
That's interesting.
But in it, see that that actually make actually action economies on our side then, because if
Mhm,
you have 5 guys and there's
mhm.
only 2 of us, you're not gonna be able to act with everybody, and we're gonna be able to act a lot more. Like up front, we're gonna be able to act more because you're only gonna be getting an action token, 2 action tokens every time we go.
Well,
So,
but I mean, it would be the same with a full size party, right? Well, that's one weird part about the action economy
well,
is
no,
that.
because you're gonna be getting 4 basically every time we take an action. Whereas like so in this instance, if there was 4 of us took an action, you could
Mhm,
have had 4 frog people go in response, but you couldn't do that in this action because we went
mhm.
and then you still had 5 guys you had to do
Yeah,
stuff with. So
um,
like so us just being a smaller party
it'll be
is
interesting.
unbalances it a little bit. Just
Yeah.
because like your big hordes of groups aren't going to be able to go as frequently as we are
Well, unless I spend fear, and
unless you spend
so
fear.
because then if I spend fear, I can get action tokens and everything like that. And
Yeah.
I think I misremembered that part there. I don't think I might have mentioned it, but I definitely didn't go on the brain.
Yeah.
Um, Abridged fear guide: spend 2 fear to interrupt the scene with the GM move. Done. Okay, so back into the scene.
Yeah, we're
Um,
gonna head south and head for the Whitefire Arcanist house,
Indeed.
okay,
hanging from a tree in the Sablewood. He did say hanging, right?
He did.
he did.
I'm sitting up with Garrick this time.
Yeah,
Back riding on the
I
couch.
assume he meant hanging as well, like as in magic.
Okay. So, making your way past the homes of the village, then through the farmlands of Hush, you see a variety of crops that have begun to cultivate a thin layer of glowing blue moss over the top of their fruits and vegetables. They pulse softly like a heartbeat as you pass.
Weird.
Have
Among
we ever seen anything like that?
if uh, I would say that you guys are aware that in the Sablewood, you're not actually. It's not uncommon for stuff to be hard to grow here. So they
Okay.
actually use this moss as a way to kind of like help
So
them
this
grow.
is a very
That's interesting.
magical. So this world is very magical, basically.
It seems like it.
Okay.
I
Cool.
mean, I have seen some of the setting details, and so when they talk about the farms and everything like that, I mean, they basically say how these farmlands have unique crops that have adapted over the centuries to grow in symbiosis with a dark blue green moss that covers them. However, you do know that the moss has to be cleaned off before it can be consumed safely. So that's important because it's good for the vegetables, bad for the people.
It's like
Okay.
pesticides.
Effectively, yeah. Um, Humanicides? No.
Pesticides in the 80s.
Okay. So back to the description. Among the thriving groves, you notice that the sablewood trees in this area have hundreds of unique faces carved into all sides, their eyes peering in every direction. One tree, taller than the rest, bears the Arcanist home, like an overripe fruit. It hangs from a braid of rope as wide around as a giant's forearm, tied to a massive branch and counterweighted by a cabin-sized boulder lying at the base of a tree. The stone is marked with a collection of symbols, and the cabin windows flash with a soft yellow-green light. What would you like to do?
Well, there's something you don't see every day. I think we approach.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll go like I will say it's normal. Let's say it's normal to call out a greeting before we approach and knock on the door. How's that?
No, there's no door down here. The door is up there, and so basically,
Right.
Well,
what you
then-
can imagine.
I think
Then we
imagine-
just yell up at the house.
Yeah, but we drive as far as we can on whatever passes for a driveway or a path.
We go
Okay.
cut the rope on the support. Wait, no.
You go cut the rope.
I'm
All right.
joking.
Yeah,
No, we basically yell greetings up at the home.
yeah, we yell greetings because do we see a way up?
No, you don't. But what you
Yeah.
do see is that you see that as you kind of yell up your greetings, like "Hey, Wi-Fi Arcanist," the lights on the inside are flicker, but there doesn't seem to be any sort of response.
How high up above the ground is it?
Oh, it's pretty high. I mean the rope itself seems like it extends far enough up there that it would be pretty good tumble if you were to fall. Um, the tree itself is a fairly large tree, and it's actually bigger than the trees around it. So, I mean, the tree itself could be climbable, and it is basically like the rope itself is wound around a branch, a very thick branch, obviously, and that's where the Arcanist house seems to be dangling.
No, I get that, but I'm trying to, like, if we pulled the coach under it, could we stand on top of the coach and
It would be
jump up to the door? Or is it over our head still?
It's over. It would be over your head still.
And the rope is as thick as a giant's forearm. Like,
It's thick. Do we just
Well,
throw rocks at the
it
front
doesn't
door?
appear to be. But well, if it's like this, it's thick enough to walk up. But if
Well,
it's thick like this,
it's like that.
You couldn't
Yeah.
even really climb it because
Giants are a player character, so they're not that.
Okay.
It's not.
they're not
It's not
that big.
big.
Okay.
Yeah. But what you do see is that the rope, the rock itself, is it does have runes etched into it, and Marlo, you can tell that it is magical. The rope, it looks like maybe the rope is also magical. You're not sure if that's just you sensing the rock or the rope.
I look at you and I say, "Wizard it open," and I don't know.
Well,
Sit
I've got two options. We do the pebble on the windows trick from down here. I go over and knock on the rock.
I don't know if it's all magic.
Can
defer
I
to
read
you.
any of the runes that are carved into the stone?
Hmm.
Can I do I sense that it's dangerous?
The stone? The stone
Yeah.
doesn't seem to have any type of imminent danger or anything like that. Why don't you roll for me a knowledge check?
Okay.
And if you want, I believe, in this case, I might suggest you use the lore-born community because you have well-read. You have advantage on any rules that you make that deal with history, culture, politics. Well, actually, not that. That's not going to work. What was I thinking would work here?
I don't know. She seems to be a prominent person.
I guess that's true.
Knowledge, analyze. I mean, that's just a thing, though.
Yeah, I was just saying roll a knowledge roll. I was just saying if there was any experience or other ability that you had that would work.
What is? I don't remember Marlo's experiences. So
Marlo's
I
experience.
have Royal Mage and not on my watch.
Royal Mage, maybe. I mean, it has
Mhm.
mage in the title, which means magic, so you might be able to use that.
Yep,
I
that would
assume a
give you
Royal Mage knows much about magic of the area that they protect.
Seems like that would make sense.
Okay, so you're saying I don't get advantage from well-read, but I'm going to get a +2 from Royal Mage.
Yep, and you do have to spend one hope. Not that you guys have any, scarcity.
Right,
kind of
I have to spend a hope to use an experience. Yeah,
We have a dearth of hope, so
Yep, and you would just have to describe to me how Royal Mage in your particular case would help you understand the runes here.
I think Garrick did that. I study a little bit of all of the magics. In the
there's a
kingdom.
wide range across
So
the
I can-
country of knowledge.
Maybe not understand them enough to do them, but
As the king's personal
understand the
mage,
basics. Yes, so
needs
so
to
that I can
know.
protect the king from if those magics are turned up on the king.
Okay. All right. So why don't you go ahead and roll for me?
Oh, I rolled an 8 with fear.
Like a fear.
Finally, some fear for you.
Yeah, and a
I know.
horrid roll.
Finally, I get a fear. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but whatever. So what you do is you go over and you you basically you look at the rock. You see that the rock itself, the magic looks like it should be some sort of, I don't know. It seems like it should be some sort of communication device. Maybe it's some sort of like a similar to like a knock spell or something like that.
Does the rock say "Speak, friend, and enter"?
Yeah. I think for copyright purposes it doesn't. But you find that one of the areas seems to be set up where if you tap that, it looks like it's going to call.
I will tap where I think I should tap.
You tap, and you hear what seems to be a melodic ring up in the actual house itself.
Does the Whitefire Arcanist have a name, or are they just a title?
Just a title. Name has been removed, and title has been.
That's fine.
Placed.
Some people have titles. I get it.
You see one of the blinds open, and you see a shadow of a head kind of poke out, and the house descends ever so slowly down towards the ground. And of course, as it gets down towards the ground, part of it unfurls to create what looks like a staircase to the main door.
Okay.
Okay. So as you approach the cabin, the Whitefire Arcanist comes out to the door, and you see a 7-foot mix of a humanoid and a firefly. The Arcanist is a fairy that moves in combination of both very slow and with suddenly jerky motions. Though her expressions are difficult to read, her emotions are very clear in her voice. She is old but spry, and eyes the group mischievously. Are you the group Emrys sent from the capital? Oh my, you're rather late, aren't you? Come in, come in. As the Arcanist as the Arcanist invites you inside, you'll notice that the treehouse is surprisingly spacious. The main room is a crowd of potion bottles, spellbooks and runes, plants, and small creatures of all kinds, but no one could classify this place as messy. It's clear that anyone moved a single item even an inch, the old fairy would notice.
We are bringing in the package, the box, the crate, whatever.
Okay.
I'm on carry duty.
I thank her for her hospitality, and we follow her in.
Okay. Sure. So as you guys come in, she looks and she says, "Well, would you like something to drink? Maybe some tea or something like that?"
That would be very nice. Thank you. We had a minor difficulty in our journey.
Okay. Yep. She goes over and she goes to what looks to be a fairly, it seems plain but well used, a kettle that you can't tell if it was already boiling or if or some sort of cantrip or something like that allows her to pour hot water when she needs it. She goes and gets a variety of leaves from a few different places.
Well, I mean, I think technically Marlo would know if she used magic.
Oh, she would, yes. So you sense magic somewhere.
I would know.
I would imagine I sense a lot of magic in this.
I look dumbfounded, but yeah, Marlo would definitely know.
And you can tell that she goes to a couple different containers, and she seems to be picking out leaves and kind of proportioning them, and kind of looks back at you and kind of makes some minor adjustments before putting the loose leaves and some things to let the tea seep. She asked you if you how was your journey? Was it safe? Was it?
We were attacked by bandits who tried to ambush us as we entered the Sablewood. They had killed a merchant who had gotten there shortly before us.
That is a travesty. The Sablewood can be quite the dangerous place. But it's good to see that you two came out relatively. She kind of looks over and sees a cut here, a jab there.
Yeah, we're
here.
a little bruised.
But, it seems as though you may have taken a few bruises here and there.
Yeah.
And Well, it was it. Guess I'm surprised that Emrys would have sent you and not given you directions to my house. Why were you so late? Was it just the ambush?
It was the ambush. We captured one of the thistle folk, and
Hmm.
so we stopped in Hush to deliver the merchant's dead body, so his family could be contacted, and the bandit, so whatever they passes for the law in town, could handle it the way that they do, and maybe stop some of
Yeah.
the attacks. The bandit made it sound like they do this pretty regularly, and they
Hmm.
take their toll rather than ask for it up front.
Hmm. Such a terrible way to go, and fickle too. Imagine if you'd been traveling on a different road. As she kind of takes the makeshift tea out and she hands it over to you. But it is always an interesting question, though. Have you imagined how you might die? And she kind of hands you the tea, kind of looking directly into your eyes, Jeff.
Do I sense any magic coming from the tea?
Hmm. This looks like plain tea and a very pointed question.
Poison doesn't need to be magic.
I'm one of the king's advisors, so I think about my death and the king's death quite often.
Hmm.
I'm
And
not his bodyguard by any means, but I am I am the person expected to defend against magical attacks.
Hmm. So, do you suspect you'll die by some sort of magical means, or do you think it'll be much more mundane, like you slip down a staircase?
I honestly don't know, but I think that the probabilities are higher that I'll die by magical means due to my profession. But in terms of mundane means, whether it's somebody's blade or a slip downstairs, it's probably the same as with any other person.
Hmm. Hmm. Ah, well, that's fair. That's fair. And she goes over and she has another thing of tea for you, Garrick. Did you ask
Yeah,
for tea, right?
I just take it and drink it immediately.
You're like, and you're like,
Yep.
she takes the hint and looks. It's odd because you can't really tell how to react to her face, but you can almost see that she's disappointed for some reason.
And I say, best not to think of it.
Okay. Um. So basically that so she goes and she's like, as you enjoy your tea, she goes and she actually takes a look at the delivery. And so inside, and once she opens it, inside King Emrys's package lies a massive stone with a lion's face carved into it. Marlowe, you recognize as the keystone of the capital city gate's main archway. The Arcanist nods sagely as she soon sees it, saying, "Of course the king would keep this delivery secret. If anyone knew your city was no longer warded, you'd be conquered before sunrise." With this ominous warning,
I'm a little shocked. Did I know what it was?
Yeah, you immediately knew what it was.
Well, no, I get that.
Oh, no.
Did I know what it was before this moment?
I don't think so. Not.
I don't think I looked in the crate. Was I there when the crate was packed, Mike, or was it?
I know you were not. You were told that it was of the utmost importance.
Well, then, as much as the king's wizard can be caught off guard, I am caught that much off guard exactly. Like, I'm not trying to show it physically, but metaphorically, my jaw's on the floor.
Do I recognize it?
Oh,
Probably not.
You are a
I just-
military man. I mean, I would say, would it make sense for your character to recognize something like that?
I probably more think it's just one of the rocks from the archway, and I don't know that it's the keystone. So
That's fair.
I raise an eyebrow, but I don't really. I'm not sure why we schlepped this rock all the way over here. Is my
If I may ask, Mistress Arcanist, Master Arcanist, or just Whitefire Arcanist, why do you need the keystone of the city gate?
Well,
now my eyebrow goes up more.
so she actually, as soon as she sees the actual stone inside the box, she waves her hands as you're asking your question, and as the house had been originally up, now it is kind of going back down, and you can see it's unfurling again. Your question was? She asked you again. She seemed preoccupied.
Why did we deliver you the keystone of the gate and leave the city unprotected?
Ah, well, because obviously it's inert. She taps on it, like raps on it rather hard with their hand. Um, we must travel to the open veil to reinstate this ward. But such an effort of magic will attract dangerous creatures from the darkest reaches of the Sablewood. I'll need your help. And she just kind of like picks up the boxes, picks up the box, puts on the lid, grabs like what almost would be like a bug out bag, and then she just kind of like goes and with the expectation for you to follow.
I take a sip of tea. I look for a safe place to set it down and motion for Garrick to follow me.
I look
You've
around.
already drank the tea. You got to enjoy all of it.
I know. I was looking
When you
around to see if,
gulp.
I was looking
There's
around
a
to see if
biscuit.
I was looking to see if there's any way I could steal more. Okay, well, oh well.
Okay. Well,
Hopefully we can get some more tea on the way back.
That was good tea. I did like the tea, but it
was
appears we don't have time for those types of.
I don't know. She's all
things.
magic-y. Maybe she can make tea on the way there.
well, you do feel refreshed. She didn't give you the sleepy time tea, but nor was it like the high energy type tea either. It was just
wasn't the tea out of her 6-demon bag.
No, it was just a combination of really well picked spices based on your auras. And so on direction from the Arcanist,
Close enough.
Arcanist, your carriage pulls into a mysterious clearing in the shape of a circle. The only area of the Sablewood you've seen without trees to block out the sky. This is the open veil. And so as you guys approach, you kind of like the Arcanist introduces the area and she says, here in the open veil, the air itself is thick with ancient power. And she looks specifically at you, Marlo. Can you feel it?
I'm assuming I can, so I answer positively. If I can feel it, I'm not lying to her.
I would say yes.
She scares me a little bit.
It's kind of like when you go to reach out and you kind of understand what kind of magic is here. It almost feels like it feels like that the world is thick with it, almost like it slows you down just a little bit. It makes it kind of like you can feel the sensation of being in almost like a sauna, but if you were to imagine that as being a magic. And she kind of nods.
And Garrick is whistling kind of a jaunty, happy little song as he obliviously pilots the carriage into the.
Yeah, you feel nothing. You feel just the cool breeze of the night, and all of a sudden the open sky kind of is quite wonderful. She continues. Its hollowed ground is perfect for potent rituals and magic. It was upon this sacred earth that I first emblazoned the wards for Hush's mighty pillars. The silent sentinels that now stand vigilant at the 4 cardinal points of the village. A bulwark against the dangers lurking in this very forest. I remember the ritual.
Saw one when we passed it. It emanated great power.
You can tell she actually seems kind of prideful at the remark. And I remember the ritual like it was yesterday. It was such a harrowing ordeal. Each incantation taxed my very essence, and one mistake could have meant the end of me and my task. However, I best not speak of that day anymore, lest I court the wrath of the forgotten gods. She looks over, kind of whispers, their ire is a fate far worse than death. So as you get to the kind of a spot in the clearing, you can tell immediately that because it seems like she's guiding you, and her antenna perk up in kind of almost a disconcerting way. This is good. Stop. Here, yes. Now come help me. I'm old. This time she unfolds the carriage as she did with her home and stands over the crate, humming. Her body starts to glow brighter, flickering in the night. I will need about an hour of preparations. You all enjoy the night air while you can. We will be very busy soon. And that is a story inserted short rest.
Awesome.
So mechanically, short rests are pretty interesting because you can choose up to 2 of the following options when you do a short rest.
Okay.
The first is tend to wounds. The second is clear stress. The third is repair armor, and the fourth is prepare. So when you tend your wounds, you can clear 1d4 hit points. You can also tend an ally instead, but you cannot do the same option twice. So it's my understanding is that if you tended wounds, you couldn't tend wounds to yourself and then tend wounds to your ally. You
Okay,
would
that's
have
fair.
to you'd have to choose to tend wounds, and that would be your one option there. You can also blow off some stream when you clear stress, and that allows you to clear 1d4 stress. You can repair option, or you can repair armor, repair option. I'm apparently tired. Repair armor, and what you can do is you can clear 2 marked armor slots. And you can also repair an ally's armor instead. If your ally, for example, has to do 2 things like wounds and stress, you could repair their armor, etc. And then the last thing that you can do is you can describe how you prepare yourself for the path ahead and gain hope. So,
Well, we don't need to gain hope.
mhm.
I need to repair my armor and get rid of stress.
I need to repair armor and I guess 10 wounds.
Okay.
So repairing armor clears 2 slots.
Yep, it clears 2 marked armor slots.
Okay.
And then
And
tending
then
wounds.
tending wounds is 1d4, but I have 1 hit point, so that will effectively I can't get more than what
I
I
only
had,
have
so-
1 stress too. So
Correct.
Okay. So I would normally roll, but in this case, it doesn't make any difference. So.
Exactly.
Okay.
So basically, I'm repairing the links in my chainmail that got damaged by the magic. What I'm assuming is a magic attack by the frog person, and just continue whistling happy songs to
Yep.
relieve my stress.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, when you're repairing, you're noticing that you have to like basically fix a buckle, pound something back in, make some minor adjustments. Really, what you can do in an hour. It wouldn't be something that would be
Sure.
not super major, but clearing 2 armor slots gets you back in top shape.
I can ship shape.
Mm-hmm.
At least I am. My armor is clear and my hit points are full.
I am as well.
Okay. So I guess I'm just looking at the time. It's actually 2 hours into stream. Did you guys want to wait for the ritual for next week and then finish it up then, or what did you want?
You can
Or
finish
just-
it up next week. I
or
mean,
we
I'm
do it tonight.
I think we can finish it up
Or I guess
next week.
Brent, you're off this week, so technically we could keep going if you guys want to.
we could keep going. It's up to
And
you.
if we
Yeah, if you want
do-
to.
we're fine.
If you think we'll finish it, maybe take a short break. I need a little more water, I guess.
Okay. Sure. Well,
Just-
let's take a short break before the ritual begins.
Okay.
Intermission.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Talk to the people watching. I am also going to be right back.
Oh, hello, people watching. I will be here while everyone else is apparently leaving for a quiet break during the interlude. If you'd like to say anything, go ahead and chat in the chat. I'll say hi. You can say anything about anything. Favorite movies. Have you played Daggerheart? Oh, there we go. There's some hellos. How's everybody doing tonight? Or is it tonight for everybody, or is it morning? I don't know. This is the internet. You could be anywhere. Yeah, 1:30 a.m. I'm going to put that squarely at night. Yeah. Maybe morning for somebody, but not me. Kind of nice being able to stay up late, catch some streams and stuff. See what's happening. I take it everybody here is interested in Daggerheart, but maybe not having played it. Ooh. Okay. I did play Daggerheart. Happy so far. There's some things that are a little wild, some spells that aren't technically action rolls, and some abilities that feel loose to interpret. Those are some fair feedback. And just to this session, Eganoise, did you like what you did on Sunday with your friends? Okay, and then Nico's going to finish their 5e table so you can switch to Daggerheart. Good. Oh, okay. Haunted House from the Ghost of Saltmarsh is a one-shot in a few weeks. All right. So it's already starting to get a little freestyle and see what you can do from there. Yeah, and so far I'd have to say that I mean we'll probably have a breakdown after we have a chance to digest and feel like how we feel about the system and stuff. But I feel like it's just got a high, it's at the beginning it's a little high. Like you have to learn a lot of new terms and you have to kind of get through some of the fiddly stuff. Not to say that this is how it's going to end up, but like for example, having to spend GM moves. If you haven't played games like Powered by the Apocalypse, it may feel a little foreign to you. But I kind of like the idea of the oh, okay. Narrative combat through playment post. Yeah. So I find that it's interesting. Like it definitely feels different. Although I'm definitely more used to myself having kind of a more structured combat. So it is good. So yeah, it was very enjoyable. Well, I hope it seems like people I've at least seen play this, or at least have heard, because I'm trying to keep away from reviews and all that stuff until we at least get through the first playthrough. People have enjoyed it so far. I feel like it's a good attempt at that kind of high fantasy, fiction first gameplay.
I think just based on what like character creation and what we've done so far, I think it'll be a good way. I do think it'll be a good way to get a D&D style high adventure game. I think it'll be a good alternative. I think it does that well.
Yeah. I'm curious because, like right now, we have all those games that kind of said, hey, we want to siphon off some players from the whole 5th edition player base. And right now we didn't play Kobold Press's Tales of the Valiant. We did kickstart, or I kickstarted MCDM's RPG, which will have something a little bit more final later this year, I believe. This one's out there. I think there's like something called DC 20, like the Dungeon Coach put out something.
Yep.
And so we're interested in at least giving them all a try. Oh, Nico, I get you. I get the
Nico wants to play as a player.
Yeah.
We you're speaking to at least two of us who are mostly Forever Gem GMs, but we got lucky being in a group together, so there's 2 Forever GMs for our group, so we can trade off once in a while.
Yeah, they do get to play some, and sometime here, I don't know what our timeline is, but I'm going to run them through Wild Sea. So I will be GMing, which is I haven't GM for a long time.
You'll do great.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And honestly, like what's really neat about all this stuff is that, you can't mess it up more than I do. So, I mean, obviously, it's like, what the hell is fear? How does this all work? What is going on here?
Yeah,
like I said,
we're learning this on the fly.
You just ignore it. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Just ignore their rules. They're silly rules. Or you get little cotton balls to be your tracker.
Yeah, just tell people. Shh.
And I agree. Demiplane was actually probably the best way to experience Daggerheart character creation. Simply because I think just trying to read the book and all that stuff, I found that using character builders has always been much better for me in terms of how to learn to play the game from that perspective.
Yeah. Character builder is nice.
Character builders are a nice shortcut.
Yeah.
Just because it gets rid of a lot of that awkward back and forth, time consuming flip that you have to do. I mean, I still enjoy pen and paper cranking out a character with a player group, but like especially if you're in a situation where you're making NPCs, like I think character builders are important, so important for like making NPCs or stuff like that, because like that saves so much time as a GM.
Yeah, I just think we're we are in a world with cell phones and tablets and laptops, and if a character creator is available, I'm probably almost always going to use that because then I know I'm not going to miss something.
Yeah.
I like being in a group so I can talk about the options. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Because I know ultimately I'm the one making the decision. But I sometimes I want some feedback, especially in a game I've never played. Like, do you think this would be more helpful or that? I'm leaning this way.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see how I can have fun with this this one. So just so you guys are aware, I am going into this with 2 fear, as you guys can't see it. I have a pink and a yellow ball. And every time you make those action rolls, I'll be putting them over here. So we can have that.
Okay.
So
So we all know how many fear balls Mike has.
yep, my fear balls. That's going to be the official vernacular. Your fear balls.
Probably
Fear balls.
not.
Fear balls.
Probably
That's what I'm gonna
not.
call. That's what I'm gonna call them from now on.
That may be true, but I don't know if it'll ever be the official term.
Well, who knows? It's our channel's official term. Who cares?
Well, that's a possibility. Sure.
Okay, so here we go.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Well, I wish Demiplane had more, at least the ability to take that stuff out somewhere, because I felt that the fact that the character sheet was just kind of like isolated into Demiplane, and you couldn't send those dice rolls anywhere. It's weird to me.
Oh yeah, you should be able to download a character sheet. I wasn't too big of a fan of that either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you can. Can't you print one out? I don't remember.
I didn't see it, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I for some reason I thought I could do something with the rolls it was
It
having.
looks like you can link to your character sheet or generate a QR code, but my guess is it pulls everybody back to this same URL to look at the same thing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they only have the character sheet on the.
Okay. Yeah. No, and that may be how they choose to do it. I don't know.
Which is cool for like,
in person having a digital character sheet is kind of nice, but
right.
But I think whatever. Okay. So here we go. So now that I have clarified some of my things, the second ritual should be more interesting. So the Arcanist, basically sets up uses that time where you guys are getting your armor repaired, tending to some of your wounds and everything like that, to get what looks to be a fairly significant ritual site set up. And at the center of the site, she lays the keystone down, kind of, and creates, starts drawing runes down it into the ground. After a few moments, you see that she starts saying some incantations, and the incantations themselves feel like they almost carry on the wind, so you almost hear kind of like a ethereal echo that goes along with the words that she's saying. And the words, even though you can recognize them as being words that could be used in spells, you're not as familiar with the language that she's speaking, and so it sounds like she's using something maybe more ancient or dark than you're familiar with,
and sinister.
Definitely more sinister. So after a little bit of time, the Arcanist lets out a shrill cry. The keystone has finally responded. Quickly, surround me. The ritual must begin, or I'll lose the pathway. Hurry. Her body begins glowing.
Leap to surround her.
2 people. You figure that out.
I don't know. Like, big air hug, Brent? Or
indeed, big
Eric?
air hug.
Big air hug? All right.
So her body begins glowing, brighter and brighter still, as her eyes roll backwards into her head, and the entire carriage lifts a foot off the ground. Well, she's not in the carriage. So she rolls backwards, her head, everything kind of starts to float a little bit as you see the place, place fills with magical energy. In response, an unearthly cry echoes from the woods, alerted by the arcane energy. Okay, so I've got my trackers going. Here, I have my 2 fear. Okay. 1 second.
Your 2 fear balls.
2, 3. All right. So you feel a rumble as 4 ancient skeletons emerge from the ground. Basically, you can see like their hands punch up through the soil, um, uh, rusted swords in hands, disturbed by the forces of magic being used by the Arcanist. In the distance, you see what look to be wraiths, shadows in the forest, floating ominously towards you. So I'm going to count. I'm going to start a countdown die for the ritual, and I don't
And I'm going to
know.
say, why don't you magic people say that this stuff could happen more often?
Okay. Well, she's kind of busy right now, glowing and eyes in the
I
back
was
of her head.
that was thrown to Marlowe.
Um, so I'm
It's
going to
always
start
a
a countdown,
possibility, you know that.
and the countdown is going to start at 8. Um, and it's basically going to. Your goal is to hold off the enemies until her work is completed. So this is
Okay.
kind of the clocks thing that they did include with the game and everything. I think that's pretty interesting.
Let's give it an attempt.
Okay, so basically, if you can imagine the scene, Marla's set out. She's got her, she's got the stone that she's channeling arcane energies in. She's
I don't
floating.
think that's Marlowe.
Not
I
Marlowe.
think that's
Sorry,
that's
that's
the
Marlowe.
White Fire.
The White
The
Fire
White Fire
Arcanist.
Arcanist.
Yeah. So the White Fire Arcanist is floating, bright, very much a beacon in these dark woods. And you can see that you two are positioned either close or so, and just outside of range, you see 4 skeletons just farther south. So in terms of who's on the southeast side of the Wi-Fi Arcanist?
Me.
All right, Garrick.
Okay, so Garrick, you see the skeletons coming up from there, and then over to the west, you see the 2 forest wraiths coming out. Okay, and where would you say cardinal direction wise you'd be, Jeff? From just on the north side?
There was 2 of us surrounding her. If he's south, I'm north.
Okay.
So west would be between us.
Okay.
Is kind of how I envision it. We were on either
good.
side of her or something like,
Okay. So, all right. So I'll say he's more south. I'll put you farther north. Okay. So as it is your guys' turn, how do you wish to go? And let me just double check the. Okay, the forest wraiths would be considered far range.
Okay.
And the skeletons are considered close range. Just an FYI.
And yep, so I will go engage the skeletons.
Okay. So how do you engage the skeletons?
I move up and attack the closest skeleton.
Kind of like a flying burrito, or just like, what do you do there?
With my sword.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Like normal people.
He
We're a
rolls
little
down the
late into
hill
the
like a
stream.
wheel of cheese,
I cartwheel at them.
blade out.
I cartwheel at them with blades on my feet and hands.
Okay.
We have all kinds of great non-successful attack patterns.
Yeah, I basically advance on them, and I will swing my longsword, which is apparently two-handed in this game, at them.
Okay. There's your green action token.
Okay.
Tell me how you do.
Here's my hit dice. I assume that doesn't hit them. That's 9 with hope.
This is a skeleton. Let me find out.
Let's see if there's anything I can do about that.
I don't know. 9 would hit me.
Okay, so the skeleton itself. So before I make any judgments as to anything like that, are you?
1 second. So I can make this. I think I can use hope if I miss him. To use my hit him hard experience, because I feel like hit him hard also means hit them first.
So I think that technically what I think you're trying to do is you'd say hit them hard is you would want to spend a hope to use hit them hard to kind of open them up. But then if you miss, you could use perseverance to spend another hope to take the new result. Is that what you're implying that you do here?
Yeah, when you fail to roll, then when you fail to roll, utilize one of your experiences. Yes.
Okay.
You may roll. So exactly. So what is my?
So
because using your experience gives you a bonus, doesn't it?
It does, and so you'd have to say you're spending hope to use your experience technically before you roll. But as it's our first try, if that's how you want to take it.
Yeah, if I can retro that a little bit, it would be
Okay.
nice. So that would be +2 for using the experience. Yes, or +1.
+1 for hitting hard. Yeah.
So that would be 10.
Yes.
And then if I don't, do I hit them?
No, you did not.
Okay, so now I will use another hope and re-roll that with perseverance.
Okay.
So let me try that again. And I assume I don't get the hope from the first roll. I only get the hope from the second roll if I get it right.
I'm not actually sure. I think that if you re-roll a dice, I don't think you would get to basically bank hope that way. I think you have to.
Right. You should only take the second result, which is a hit, but you get fear.
Ooh, I get a fear.
Mm-hmm.
Oop, here's a fear. Yeah, 19 definitely hits.
Right. So now damage.
Okay.
Oops. 15D plus 1 is not going to get me what I want. I did 3 points of damage, or 4 points of damage.
I'm actually impressed.
Impressed at what? How bad I did?
No, it's just I think with your damage rolls, you've rolled 2 1s and a 3, like the
right.
The two most unhelpful rolls for your character for damage dice. That's funny.
Correct.
Okay. So you basically, why don't you describe to me how you attack a skeleton? I mean, the skeleton looks like it's shot in very ancient looking armor, rusted weaponry, a helmet kind of lilting to one side. How do you typically hack at skeletal creatures?
Well, I fight them just like I would a person because they're warriors, right? So, clear the sword and hack at their body.
Okay. So basically just a slash of the body.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you find that you were able to find some purchase, and the skeleton being much lighter than you kind of like jerks to the side, but it stops suddenly, and you feel your blade hit some sort of stiffness. The skeleton looks at you with its undead eyes.
By the way, I've been rolling wrong. It's +3 for me to hit things with my long sword, so I'll remember that moving forward.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Doesn't matter with the first one.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
that would have been a 11.
No.
So there you go.
Okay. So I've got my action dice there, and you rolled with fear. So I'm going to spend it on that one that you just attacked, Brent. He's basically, since he's got you as best as a skeleton can get you, he's going to use that opportunity to kind of grab at your sword, and kind of woodenly take a hack straight down at your.
What do they have for weapons?
A rusted sword. Okay. So it looks as though, he was able to basically, it seems like he pulled you in closer and got you with a swing right out of the gate. For a total of 14 points of damage.
So I will spend 2 of my armor, which takes it down to 0.
Okay.
Yeah, when we stop, I've got some questions.
Sure. Okay. So what do you do?
Are you going to go again? Are you going to go, Jeff, or do you want me to go?
Yeah,
Again?
I'm gonna go. I am going to spend a token to unleash chaos at one of the crap. I forgot what they were.
The
Wraiths.
Wraiths. Yep.
Okay.
I get it. Hang on. Modifiers +2. I got a 19 with hope.
Okay. Taking a tracker.
And that deals a D10 of damage. That would be 9 damage.
Okay. 9
I channeled raw energy from within myself and unleashed it against the Wraith.
All right. Okay, so at the beginning of your session, place a number of tokens equal to your spellcast trait on this card. Your spellcast trait
It's
is
my
equal-
instinct, so so I had 2 tokens. I decided to spend 1 on that.
Okay. Oh, and you can mark a stress to replenish this card with tokens.
Yes, but I'm assuming since I only spent 1 token, I can use it again, and then if I want to, I can use stress to put 2 tokens back on it.
Correct. That seems to be how it reads.
All right, we're on the same page then. Okay.
Okay. So basically, you how does your unleash chaos work for you? Like, is it just a
for lack, because it's so late, it's like a kamehameha. I'm just channeling energy out of inside.
He's just okay.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm not more original, but
Chaos beam, that works.
this is a beam of chaos. Yes, from it. I mean, that's what it says, right? I'm channeling raw energy from within myself. This is probably highly destructive behavior, but
Yeah, so it kind of licks the ground on the way to the wraith and it cuts right through its spot. You can tell that it seems like it dissipates, but obviously you can tell that you scored a hit against it.
Okay. What, do you want to try to take on the hard swinging skeleton again?
Sure.
Here?
Or you can keep throwing spells and stuff if you want.
I think I need a moment after leashing.
Okay. I will
beat.
take a poke at the skeleton again. Same sort of thing. In a counter to its hitting me, I basically loose my sword from its hand and take another like 2-handed swing into its chest and shoulder.
Okay.
Remembering what my modifier is this time.
Perfect.
18 with fear.
Okay. 18 with fear. So you do hit.
Yes.
7 points damage that time.
Nice.
Okay. So basically as you reel your sword back, it kind of pulls it off balance. I mean, obviously this isn't the fight where you see the warrior is demonstrating any of its previous life skills, but you're able to basically come around with a clean strike and it knocks it straight to the ground, shattering the bones. What's strange is that as the bones shatter, you almost see these like ethereal tendrils kind of move in the direction of the Whitefire Arcanist. And it almost, kind of like when you're watching Ghostbusters, how it like has the Sucks it in.
Now I have Ghostbusters music in my head.
I
Well,
think that was his intent.
if that's the battle music you need right now, then that's the battle music you get. And so one of the other
You mean the other? There's one other skeleton, right?
no, there were 4 skeletons.
Oh, I thought there were 2 for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was 2 skeletons and
it's
2
two
wraiths. But
two
it's-
wraiths, 4 skeletons.
Okay, 2 wraiths, 3 skeletons
Well, 3
Yes.
skeletons.
at the moment.
At the moment. Yeah.
Why does this
So-
feel like if 4 skeletons die, 4 skeletons take their place?
1 dies for everyone that dies, 2 take their place. You never know.
Yeah,
So
let's not double it. Yeah.
the wraith that you attacked with your an insanely magic beam. I spent a token because Brent was kind enough to roll with fear for me, and it kind of moves a little bit closer, kind of like flying above the ground, and it gets a little, not too much closer, but it kind of raises its shadowy arms and it pulls on you. It doesn't pull on you physically, but you feel like your spirit being pulled away. Rolling dice. Dun, dun, dun. Your evasion was what again?
9.
9? Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So it does. You feel like a piece of you seeming to move away from you towards the wraith.
If this was D&D, you'd now be minus levels and dead.
But not much. It was more just like a Moj boost of life drain.
Well, when you're level 1 and wraiths take a level from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that pretty much kills it.
Oh, that's fair. It doesn't seem to mention,
Which is why
that,
Wraith encounters with a level 1 party in D&D is a dick.
Would be the worst thing you could do. Yes.
I don't think I've ever done that. We're level
I don't know
1.
if it's still the same. I don't know if that's still the same in 5th edition, but
I don't know if it is. I haven't encountered.
But I know-
Wraith in
but I know
fifth.
that's what it was in 3.5, and I know that's what it was in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It was if you encounter wraiths, your party's now collectively less levels.
Yeah. So what I would say is that you take 5 points of damage.
We lost Jeff.
Did we? that was one hell of a life drain.
You got hit by fear balls.
Me
Yeah,
neither, I
it
think.
was- it
Oh,
was-
there you go.
It was too
Nope.
much.
You disappeared for a second, Jeff. On our side, you just like
Oh.
winked out.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
kind of went out of
hey,
existence
You
and then
winked
you're
out of
back.
existence for a second.
Now I'm back. Okay. So you said I took 5 damage, Mike?
I did. Yeah.
So that would be a minor. I will mark 1 hit point for that.
Okay.
Yep, you disappeared for the stream momentarily.
Yeah, I looked down and saw I have the stream on my phone just so I can respond in chat. I'm not the official Rollwise chat responder, but I like to respond.
There really isn't an official Rollwise chat responder. There's just one of
There's
us that have to log into the account.
Yeah,
Us three.
only one of us can be logged into the account at a time.
Like unpaid interns. Okay, so that was so basically you could tell a piece of yourself was sucked in by the wraith.
Well, that sounds fun.
Never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
Hey.
Okay.
That's not very. I mean, 1 hit point worth isn't very much.
It was 5. Oh, well, shit. I guess you're right. Yeah, 1 hit point's not very much.
Exactly.
It's 1/6 of the.
You're just a
the
little more
cumulative
tired.
Total that I have.
You're just a little more tired than you were before.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You can tell the effects of the tea are wearing off quick.
I have to kill these skeletons so I can get more tea.
I need to figure out what makes opponents vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Well, certain abilities will. You can create conditions that will do that. Like narratively, can you create a situation? This is a little bit freeform with how they do a lot of the things, So it's
Okay.
I mean, it can go just kind of like. I mean, and I think that's one of the flexibilities of the thing here is it doesn't really tell you everything you should do like we did in 4th edition. But it's, kind of like create openings, act in a narrative fashion. How can you do things a little bit differently?
Yeah, with no examples of how to do that. It's like with no example of play.
Yeah, I mean, they're
that means you pretty much like that puts a lot of responsibility on the GM, because if I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm going to do this thing every round to give advantage against everything, like, like
I'm going to make it vulnerable.
by whistling at it, like you
And-
gotta like, because then the GM's just like, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
That's fair.
because you know what the vulnerable does for me, Brent? If I use Rain
Vulnerable?
of Blades, which I've spent 2 hope to do, I get to do 2d10 magic damage to it instead of 1d10 magic damage. So it's not an insignificant thing.
No, but I don't know. I don't think kicking the skeleton in the nuts is going to make it vulnerable.
Well, so vulnerable is, it's so just so you guys are aware, when an effect makes a creature take the condition vulnerable, it means they're now temporarily in a difficult position within the fiction. That might mean they are knocked over, scrambling to keep their balance, caught off guard, or anything else that follows the narrative of the scene. You would have to describe to me how you created a situation that would create vulnerability within the creature, if that makes sense.
Zeryl says that there's definitely some abilities that inflict vulnerability. I just don't see that I currently have any.
That's true.
Thanks, Zeryl. I appreciate
I'm
that.
sure Barnacle the Toad had. Well, no, because he's the thief character, so
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure.
He might have. It might be something that, like, combining with other people in the party. That I was just asking in general.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I had a way to do, like, if I could think of a way to knock a wraith over, a misty creature, that would be
Yeah.
well, that would be badass.
Yeah, and so it technically
Just for Agonizer's comment.
Yeah, so it is an additional 2d10, so it's a pretty amazing spell if you can create the vulnerability. But
that's okay. I had read that earlier and I skipped over the vulnerable part. So thank you.
But yeah, and it is also a good spell because this is one of the situations in which make a spellcast roll and all targets that you succeed against make a d10.
Yeah, like if I'm surrounded, Rain of Blades becomes a
Rain of Blades would have been good on 4 skeletons.
Yeah, it would have been.
Well, it could still be good on
regular
3.
Rain of Blades.
It's still pretty good on 3 skeletons that hit really hard. Hint, 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 hint.
Well, are they close to me? Are they within close range of me?
Well, so how it works is that I mean, yeah, they would be close. You weren't that far away from the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm close to you, and they're close now. They're in melee range with me. So, the reason you could attack the wraiths is because they were far away, and you're
yes, because I have abilities
and
that
really
reach far.
And just to give you guys a sense, close is anything between 10 and 30 feet away. So it's not like a super precise for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're good. Yeah.
Whatever.
So you could do that if you would so like.
Okay. Yeah. No, if I have the ability to go, I would like to use Rain of Blades on the skeletons.
Okay. I get my action token. Thank you.
All right, and my mod of +2. A 16 with fear.
Ooh, thank you. 16 with fear. So 16 with fear would actually hit all 3 of the skeletons standing.
All right, so they are all going to take. Okay. Now this is a procedural question.
Mm-hmm.
So I turn and I fling out, all of a sudden these blades just appear out of nowhere and come flying out of my hand. Do I need to roll a d10 for each of them, or do I roll 1d10 and they each take that much damage?
I think it's 1d10 and they each take that much damage. Let me double check though.
For the sake of speed, I would assume that's the case.
That seems the most efficient, but I wasn't sure if the rules called something out specifically.
Yeah, I believe that's how it is. All right. Yeah, attacker rolls damage once, and that total applies to everybody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Brent. I have a subclass. I have a subclass ability where I can take stress to reroll any number of damage dice.
You could probably take one stress, but it might be. Do you have to take the second result, or do you get a pick?
I have to take the second result. I'm
Mhm.
assuming. If I'm re-rolling, I'm assuming I have to take. The
I would probably stick with 6 in that case, because your potential to do less than 6 is pretty high.
Well, it's you know, it's kind of a 60-40 thing. Like
there's a 60% chance you're gonna do worse.
40% chance I do more. And the thing is if I do more, each one is, you know, like 10 or more percent more.
I mean,
like,
if you want to go for it, go for it.
I mean, I'm not the guy that's going to tell you how you have to spend your stress.
I'm taking a stress to re-roll my damage die.
But I am the guy that's appreciating that you go out and take a risk, Jeff.
7.
You did more.
I did more.
Net gain.
We're gonna take it. I'm not gonna push my luck further though.
Okay.
I'm not opening another case. Let's go.
Net gain. That's great. Net gain.
Let's go, boys.
All right. So basically,
the gamble worked. Good job.
You rolled with fear, so I'm going to take my fear. So you know, are you one of the people when it says rain of blades, you know, conjure throwing blades that strike at enemies? Are you more like the rain, like as a literal rain,
You said
or
he
just
threw them out?
Like just kind of throwing out?
Yeah,
Okay.
like I kind of pictured as like spinning around and throwing my arm out and it like raining out of my hand.
I think Marlo does everything.
Horizontal rain.
I think Marlo does everything in the comment.
Yeah.
It's
very direct.
I think it's all this.
We're at the end of the evening, you can tell. So
I don't just casually sit there.
It's like pushing a cloud of daggers towards people.
Oh, geez. So you basically just push a spinning, whirling blade of daggers that somehow Mrs. Garrick kind of goes around him.
Exactly.
You can tell that as it, you know, that you can hear the hits going off armor. You can see bones cracking and breaking as they stumble backwards. And yeah, you've managed to hit all 3. They did not go down though.
Because magic.
Because magic is awesome.
Right. Magic doesn't hurt your allies. It only hurts your...
Well, unless it says it does. In this case, it doesn't. Shh. No, it says enemies. It specifically says enemies.
There you go. It's not Thunderwave for
so no matter how haphazardly I do it, yeah, it's not Thunderwave.
Which I am always in the way of, always, with every character ever.
I believe I have hit you with a Thunderwave before.
I believe you've hit me with more than one Thunderwave on different occasions.
That is possible. I do like Thunderwave when I play a character that does it.
Jeez. Dozens of ocean violations. So basically at this point, I was pretty badass. You saw the skeletons, you know, they look worse for wear, obviously broken parts. One is missing an arm, but still is wielding the sword, and all those kind of things. And you see that they kind of, you know, the dead rise, you know, they come back up and their eyes still seem to be locked on the Arcanist, and kind of by default, Garrick as well. So then at this point though, after you unleash that major attack, one of the wraiths uses an action to move all the way up to you, Jeff. It kind of flies around and everything like that. And as it comes through, I spend a fear. Oop. And it kind of, as it kind of loops around you, kind of like a boa constrictor. Yeah.
Wasn't technically the wraith that came up and attacked me? Was it close, or was it?
It was far. It was a drain from a distance.
Okay, it was a drain from a distance. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. And so it kind of loops around skeletons. Kind of like almost, you know, like a boa constrictor that's climbing a tree. And then at the end, you see it's face to face with this dark, almost it's hard to make out its face, even with the Arcanist bright light. And one of its hands comes up, touches you on your cheek, And at that moment, your eyes connect. And I roll a d20.
Bad touch. It's bad touching you.
Yeah, apparently.
And it rolls a d20 and does 20 points of damage.
Okay. So you, in this place, in this particular thing, all of a sudden you're transported. Why don't you tell me a terrifying moment in Marlowe's childhood that it forces you to relive?
Wow. Terrifying. I believe that Marlowe, when she was young, had a sickness that included a terrible fever. And there was a recurring nightmare that she had while she was sick, where she
Mhm.
felt like she was being roasted alive by flames.
So it's kind of like a really bad fever.
Yeah. But that's how her brain was and her subconscious was interpreting it.
Okay. Well,
Which,
that's
yeah, every time she fell asleep with a fever when she was as a child, she'd have that same dream about being burnt alive.
that seems to be where you're transported right now. As the
Marlowe screams.
as
She screams.
yeah, and
The reserved court mage screams.
you can't really tell if it's physical damage or anything like that at this point from your perspective.
Okay.
And you take you take 9 magic damage, and you get to be temporarily vulnerable until your next rest.
Until my next rest?
Yes. Now the real fun begins.
That seems like forever. I'm going to use an armor slot to knock it down to a minor.
Can you use
I'm
armor slot
assuming
on-
I can, because 9,
Yeah,
and
it
I'll
should
take
be
a
able
hit
to.
point of damage.
Okay.
Yeah, that was I was going to ask that earlier if you could do that with magic damage, because like when I got hit, I was curious if it worked, but
I guess I never
Sounds
thought about it. It just kind of says, when you take damage, you use your armor slots.
yeah.
But there are things that are resistant to either physical or magic damage. Huh. But no, okay. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It came over to you, caused you to relive one of your worst worst childhood traumas about burning alive, and you feel it. You actually feel like the singe on your
Sure.
body as your mind reels from it.
Okay.
It says hello. Okay. Now what do you guys do?
And
It
I
is
note
now.
that it's now within close range of me.
It is now. It is now in close range. Yes.
Okay. Just saying.
Do I think I can hit the wraith with my sword? Probably not, huh? They don't look like they could be hit. They look misty, right? They look like
Yeah, it's definitely giving off some sort of physical resistance vibes.
yeah.
I think you should stick to the skeletons,
So yeah, I'll attack one of the skeletons.
unfortunately. As much as I appreciate the idea of an assist.
I take I take a strong look and then attack one of the skeletons. Hey, 17 with hope.
Okay,
Nice.
gain a hope, and you succeed.
All right. 6 points damage to the nearest skeleton to me.
Okay, 6 points of damage to the nearest. The nearest is dead. So let's go to the second nearest.
I hit the nearest one. I hit the dead one.
Yeah, he hits the nearest
Over and
one,
over
dead
again.
one.
Pick it out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. You basically you can tell that this one was only barely and flimsily hanging on by whatever magics were keeping it going, and just swinging through it, just kind of like it tumbles apart, bones go splashing everywhere. And again, you see that kind of ethereal thing go towards that.
Throwing magic back into the magic bubble.
Okay. So since you roll with hope, I don't get any action dice, and I'm not going to spend my fear just yet. But so you guys go, and that it's so weird because I feel like I should just get a turn based on when you guys get to go. So my D&D brain.
Well, I mean, you could if you wanted to spend your action point.
I want to keep my fear for something really good. I got another cool thing I want to do here.
So you don't, but you got an action point for me.
Yeah, but you didn't fail. You rolled with hope.
All right.
Wait. So let's clarify again. Do you always get action points every time we do something, or only when we fail?
No. When you guys roll when you guys roll, that's when
whenever we roll, it's
right.
the act of rolling that gives them an action point.
But my GM moves are only triggered by you failing or failing with
okay.
Or be using fear points to.
Okay, that's what I didn't understand. Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or else he would just be accumulating chances to do stuff at an alarming rate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does. He just can't until we fail. He just can't do it until we fail or spend fear.
It is an interesting limitation. Right. I'll give it that.
I am going to Rain of Blades again on 2 skeletons and 1 wraith.
Okay.
Spending my last 2 hope.
Cool. You are now hopeless. Oh.
Unless he rolls well, and then he'll get another hope.
I did not. Apparently that affected me quite a bit. I rolled a 5 with fear.
Do you have a way to re-roll that anyway?
Hang on, I might actually.
Please hold.
Well, you don't.
No, I can't. I can't re-roll it, but I can add +2 to the action roll result. And I don't think that 7's going to make a difference. So
well,
I am
also
not
you
going
don't.
to take it.
Yeah, you also don't have any hope to spend or do a re-roll thing, anyways. So never mind.
No.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So basically, what it seems as though is the case is that with you trying to unleash that thing, just kind of like get it off me kind of feeling that you have right now.
Sure.
It seems as though the universe is against you. There's just something's holding you back, and the actual thing is you. You weren't able to hit any of the skeletons. You weren't able to hit it. It kind of moves away from you as you kind of shoot the blades off into nothing. But you are not able to hit them. So I do take my action dice and I get my fear. And I'm going to go ahead and use one of those actions to... Actually, I'm going to use 2 of my fear to summon 2 more skeletons just to the other side of the Arcanist. So these 2 skeletons are on the east of the Arcanist, and you see their skeleton hands punch through the ground, and they slowly pull themselves up from the body there, or they pull their bodies slowly up from the ground. And then one of the wraiths is going to attack you, Brent.
I say no.
Oh, never mind. Okay, what do you guys want to do? Just kidding. No, I get to roll. I get to roll my d20s too.
Say no to the bad touch.
Okay, so it looks like it tries to draw your spirit, and I think actually it does. What is your evasion? You said it was 9.
Yeah, both of our evasions are 9.
Okay, so 5 points of damage.
Okay, I'll take a hit point.
Okay. All right. So you can tell that as it was draining your life, it's moving ever closer. Okay. What do you guys do?
I feel like Damn, we got a lot of skeletons, man. We still
We
got
do.
two race, and now 4 skeletons again.
Yep.
Mhm. And you see, and as you guys are determining what you do, you see the wraith that was closest to you, Jeff. And it seems like it's eyeing the Arcanist hungrily.
I am going to swing my staff at that wraith. I created a 20. I got a critical success. 2 10s. It's a 22.
You and your crits, man. What is this? What is this?
Good job.
Okay, so with a critical, a lot of good things happen. So, you get things.
I like to think less bad things happen. That's what I like to think.
So you get what you want and a little bit more. So gain a hope, clear a stress, and tell me how you attacked the wraith.
Gain a hope.
And
Clear
what
stress?
And so you're attacking the wraith that was eyeing the Arcanist hunger.
Yes.
Correct? Oh, that was
yes. Cool. I'm whirling my staff above my head in my frequent attack pattern and striding towards it and swinging it down, even though I'm not making physical contact. That's what triggers the wave or the beam of purple plasma shooting out of the end of the staff to strike the wraith.
Sure.
Hang on.
You remember you
7 plus 8 is 15. 15 damage.
15 damage.
Magical damage. Not physical, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like anything worth re-rolling if I got a 7 on a D8.
No.
That was 1 point off of...
I mean, you rolled a 5.
If I rolled a 5, I guess. Yeah, no.
But again, statistically, I think that's probably...
No, I'll take the 15.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So then, do you want to continue going, Jeff? It seems like you had a lucky strike in there. Going to push your luck, or are you going to hand the reins over to...
Well, go ahead and go again.
Yeah, I'll try to go again. Try and do the same thing.
And this is kind of an interesting thing is that if you need to rebuild hope, you can go on kind of like a combo attack and see if you can't do that. But you also, of course, risk rolling fear and allowing the GM to make a move.
No, I'm going to push my luck a little bit. An 11 with hope. And you know what? Before you say something, I'm going to take a stress to make it a 13.
And that's on the wraith?
The wraith.
Okay, cool. You hit.
I'm assuming I have to tell you. I can't just hear that it misses and then...
I would prefer it if you spent all your stuff beforehand.
I thought I wouldn't be...
Yeah. I feel like that there's that term I learned with Baldur's Gate where they were like talking about saves coming. I feel like that's kind of the...
that would be for 10 damage.
Oh my god.
Well, usually the ability says if it says it can be done after or not.
Yeah.
It literally just says add +2 to the action roll result. So it says, yeah. Anything with magic. It says after I cast it. I think I have to do it before you tell me the result. I think that's the right thing to do. So I'm not arguing that.
So like my perseverance is when you fail a roll, that means it has to.
Yeah, mine doesn't say fail. It's just I had a fear that 11 was. Yeah, I don't know what the range is, and I don't care at this point, honestly.
Okay. Right. So I'll get my little ball there.
Still up?
Yeah, it's still up. You can tell that it seems like
both of them still up?
They are both still up.
Okay.
The one wraith is like faded from reality quite a bit. It's only a shadow of its former shadowy self. But the other wraith still looks pretty.
You're still on a roll. You can go again.
and make it very heroic.
Unless you want
I
me
am
to
going to try to strike it again. I am giving it a shot. A 12 with fear. You know what? I'm going to take another stress to make it a 14.
Okay. I'll take the fear. And I'll take the action point.
And then I will do... I'm assuming the 14 hits since the 13 hit last time?
It does, correct.
Okay.
Not to...
I am no good at doing this.
We've been good the last few times.
I got another 10.
Good job.
Yeah, so basically what seems like to happen is that after you have, after you had, had relived that childhood trauma, you kind of exploded with magic, just shot after shot, almost kind of like you'd gone back to, staff training from when you were younger, and just bam, 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 boom. And you could tell that on that last strike, the wraith explodes into small shadowy particles that are sucked towards the Arcanist. Since you did roll with fear, that allows me to have a GM move.
It does.
It does.
But I did accomplish what I was trying to do.
You did good.
As I advanced and swung and advanced and swung and advanced and swung a third time.
Okay. So the other wraith sees kind of like you can't tell if it it doesn't obviously have any loyalty to the other wraith, but it sees you as a threat. I take 2 of my fear tokens. And you can see that it kind of almost looks like it puffs up and just charges at you. Now it seems like what it needs to do here is it's using an action token to shoot across the ground, almost like when you see like those fighter jets going through like maneuvers and stuff like that, very close to the ground.
I pictured one of those fast zombies in one of those movies that lopes like it's an animal instead of a human, like running on all 4. Just like insanely fast though.
Oh, super fast, and it comes at you, and we're right at the point where it's going to impact. What does it do? Oh, it hits. So it just shoots through you, and your character, here's a crack, and you feel super strange because you are pushed out of your body. You sit there kind of suspended in slow motion.
That's an odd sensation.
And you see like your body kind of push back. You see the wraith behind you. You are looking down, saying whatever explicatives would normally do that. And I'm going to put a lock on your actions until a condition is met. Brent, what are you going to do?
Attack a skeleton. But I missed. 8 with hope.
Okay.
Oh, you got a hope though.
I got a hope. Can I? Oh yeah, I can. I think I can re-roll that, can't I?
Which ability would you be looking at?
I don't know. I'm going to look.
So you have battle strategist.
Yeah, no, I can't. You're good. Unless I can go. I mean, I can go.
Okay,
again.
so when you miss, that allows me to also.
Yes, I know. So that's
so
what I was
doing that. So you see like Marlo just get pushed, like, and she like lands on the ground, kind of lifeless. The skeletons to the east move up, and they move towards the Arcanist. It looks like.
Is that 1 action point or 2 for both of them to move?
Well, let's use 2 action points and have both of them move up towards the Arcanist.
Okay.
And 1 second. All right. So roll a d20. Okay. So you see that one of the skeletons was able to penetrate through the immense amount of light that it has. And it basically grabbed the Arcanist. And you see her kind of wince while performing the thing. And you see kind of an interruption happen. She's still glowing. It seems like it's still drawing in magic from around and kind of channeling it into there. But they interrupted the ritual a little bit. You could feel that it's kind of slowed down. Yeah.
So I will move over to attack the one that is attacking the Arcanist.
Okay.
Because I think the only way of us winning is for her to get the thing done.
I think so.
With 2 people, this is definitely a much different fight.
13 with hope.
13 with hope. That hits.
5 points damage. The damage on Garrick feels kind of anemic, frankly.
It does, doesn't it? Like, I'm not seeing any way, because other than the reroll 1s and 2s and everything like that, the only thing I can see is that you have the what is that one?
Battle strategist, where I can grab it and do a d8 of 1d8 of damage.
Yeah, well, when you're physically
one?
hindered, you can spend hope to have advantage on a success. You choose to deal 1d8 physical damage to the combat or target.
Yeah, that doesn't seem better than just attacking it.
Doesn't, does it?
No. It's funny because he seems almost like a face character in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
With his low presence, weirdly enough. Yeah, he's designed weird in my opinion.
Yeah, does feel like a strange one there.
But I did 5 points of damage to the skeleton that is attacking her, and I'll attack again if I can.
Yep, you can.
Unless you're interrupting.
I don't know. I don't want to show you my pool, but I only have this guy right now.
There, you got a fear token, but I hit him.
Okay.
Nice. I mean, not with the fear, but it's gonna. Holy yes!
I did 9 points of damage to him that time.
Yeah.
Boom. So basically, just in 2 quick hacks, boom, boom, you seem to chop off its arms and then push it down to the ground and stomp on its rib cage, shattering the skeleton, causing the particles to go back, of course, to the Arcanist. Jeff, at this point, you feel like you feel kind of like that moment where it's like time felt like it stopped for you, like nothing around you was moving, everything was strange, but then in a second you feel like you're sucked back into your body and you just kind of gasp for air. You're on the ground. Run. What do you do? Or I guess, what do you guys do next?
I'm gonna stand up and continue, protecting the Arcanist. I am looking to see where the Wraith's at.
The other Wraith, it has not moved in close, so it is still far, but you have now 1, 2, you have 4 skeletons that are close if you had the...
Do we still have 4? I thought Brent just put one down.
Or I'm sorry, no, 3 skeletons that are close to the Arcanist, in close range, I should say.
I will use Rain of Blades.
Okay.
I'll spend my 2 hope that I accumulated. So I'm down to 0 hope. A 14 with hope.
Okay. So gain your hope, and roll your damage.
I am going to take a stress to re-roll that because I rolled a 2.
Yeah, the 2 seems less helpful, but you never know.
Oh my god.
I rolled a 2.
It
All right,
hurts.
they each
It
take
hurts,
2 damage.
It
Suck
hurts.
it. Suck it.
hurts.
They each take 2 damage.
It really hurts. Really hurts.
Hey,
when
what's
that happens.
what is the? Yeah, they all take 2 damage. That's fine.
What was your question going to be there, buddy?
How far away? The range is what's after close? Is it far?
Oh, what is after close? I think it is. But let me just make sure. So you have close, then far, then very far.
Okay, that's fine. I just needed to know that. Okay.
But the good news is that because you hit them and you hit all the close ones, the ones that you had hit before shatter and fall apart, and the other one, obviously, it didn't fall apart like you had hoped.
Well, that's odd.
But you did more damage to it. You have done damage to them, Jeff. They're not.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah. So it's just funny that's how it went.
It's funny that the 2 was the coup de grace for 2 of them. That is. But yes, that is why we have these abilities, is to use them occasionally.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Or frequently if we can.
Exactly.
Okay.
Frequently, if not more often.
Indeed.
All right. And you can tell that kind of supercharges the Wi-Fi Arcanist. You can tell that seems like it's getting to a kind of a critical mass. It's not there yet, but you rolled with fear, you said?
No, I rolled with hope that time.
Oh, okay. So yeah, continue to go.
I am going to attempt to unleash chaos on the wraith that locked me out of my body.
Oh, that one's dead. That one you killed.
You killed that one already, yeah.
The other wraith is the one that's dead.
Oh, is it? I
Yeah.
thought the other wraith. No, I thought the one that made me relive my nightmare I killed. And then the one that charged at me and locked me out of my body for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the one that
Maybe I misspoke.
No, you're right. You're right. It's late. I'm just kind of getting myself mixed up.
No, that's okay. I'm going to unleash chaos.
Okay.
A 13 with hope.
13 with hope. Perfect.
Does that hit or... on a wraith? I don't know.
A 13? Yes, it does.
Okay. I'm going to take a stress to re-roll that. 1.
How many stress do you have left? You're at like at 4 or something, isn't it?
I'm at 4 now. I have been marking them all, sir.
Well, you do have something called a...
Oh my god.
I rolled another 1. All right. I guess it is taking 1 damage from me. All right.
Okay.
Twice that's happened tonight, and that's a travesty.
It's pretty amazing, actually. I'm not going to lie. You'd have to double check, but in your equipment, you might have what's called a minor stamina potion, just as kind of a reminder. That minor stamina potion would allow you to clear stress.
Do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
It would allow you to clear 1d4 stress.
Okay.
So just as an FYI.
So can I use that now, or do I have to wait? Are you doing something?
No,
You can use
it.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think... Do I get an action point for that? I don't think so. Cool.
I get to clear 2 stress, which is probably the expected result there. So I clear 2 stress. Woohoo. I forgot about that. I also forgot about my...
I'm gonna attack this other skeleton nearest the Arcanist.
Okay.
17 with hope.
Okay, great. That hits.
8 plus 1. 5 points of damage.
All right. You smash that skeleton as well, leaving the shade looking at you guys, both, trying to determine which is the greater threat. And we're going to go ahead and go with Oh, did you roll with fear or hope? No, you rolled with hope. Never mind.
Nope, I rolled with hope.
I'm going to go ahead and sit here, waiting to make my move.
I'm going to mark a stress to replenish my Unleash Chaos.
Okay.
So I'm back up to 3 stress. But I'm going to attack it, if you're okay, Garrick, with my staff, not Unleash Chaos, even though I just recharged it. I'm going to attack with my staff.
Wait, you're going to recharge your Unleash Chaos and then?
Yeah, I can burn a stress to add 2 charges to Unleash Chaos.
Oh, okay, but you're going to then not cast Unleash Chaos. You're going
I'm just using my basic attack with my staff.
Not yet, anyways.
Yes, not yet, anyways. How about that? That is a 17 with hope, sir.
Yeah, you are very hopeful. That hits.
Then I will do a D8 plus 2 damage. 4.
Okay. Let's see. Sounds good. You basically, with your staff and everything like that, it feels like what's happening is it's like a magic kind of consuming some of the shadow kind of fighting back, and it's hard to tell exactly how much damage this kind of attack does to it, but you can tell that it's doing something to the ring.
And I'm going to push my luck, but this time I'm going to use Unleash Chaos, but I'm going to burn 2 charges.
Ooh, okay.
All right. This was not the time to burn 2 charges.
No.
That is a 5 with hope.
Well, you gain a hope. I can tell you that much.
I do gain a hope.
And you miss.
I did fail.
You missed spectacularly.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
That
Like
was
you just,
weird.
it just seems like you're crying out, energy is flying everywhere. It's, ground is being upturned, and it just kind of goes around the wraith. It is so chaotic and so unpredictable and too difficult to control.
Okay. That's fine. Shit happens.
Okay.
But since I failed, are you going to step in?
I am. So it uses the opportunity to kind of like twist and weave its way through this, immense casting of magic, and it's going to go up to Brent, and
Garrick.
Sorry, Garrick. It's going to go up to you, Brent. It's going to relive one of your childhood traumas. No, it's going to go up to Garrick.
I don't like this game anymore.
And it kind of like goes, and it basically touches its head against. You can't really tell if it's going down or if it's coming back. It's hard to say. But tell us a little bit about.
Garrick was beat up by a bully.
Beat up by a bully?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. We were beat up by a bully. Okay.
Yep. That's the terrifying moment that he's reliving.
Well,
And that's why
terrifying.
That's why he became a warrior, is to avoid that. And now he's reliving it. So
yep. Basically, it's that moment when you were down on those stairs and you were getting kicked in the gut, and they were laughing at you for being so weak. That's what's happening right now. Gut getting punched. Okay. Apparently it doesn't hurt you as much as it hurt Marlo. Take 3 points of damage. But you are vulnerable, so take that.
Can we spend armor on that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still at 0.
If you get it below minor, then it's just a stress, right?
Yep.
I say just a stress.
Well, I mean, if you make it 0, do you still take a stress?
Oh, if you make it 0, I don't think it.
It should be. It should be nothing if you make it 0.
Yeah, because it's minus. How much damage did he do?
So you burned an armor slot. Okay.
He did 3 points of damage.
Well, how much did he do? A minor, a major, or a severe? He did 15.
He did below a minor. He did 3.
He did 3 points of damage.
Okay, so minus 7 is none. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Or actually, you would have been in the take a stress range instead of.
Oh yeah, I'll just take
the slot.
Yeah, I won't spend the armor slot. I'll just take the stress.
Oh
take a
man.
stress.
spend.
Yeah, and so that would be one thing when you say like you take 3 hit points, like that's not actually what's happening.
You take 3 damage.
Yeah, so
take 3,
that's where
right.
I got confused.
Yeah, I
because
take.
Veer says mark 3 hit points. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be
that's
quite the crazy ability then.
yeah, just jump and take 3 hit points. Yeah. Oh shit.
Screw
Yeah, I just
your
wanted to be sure.
threshold.
Which
Nope,
I mean,
apologize.
something like this could do that, which is why I was trying to clarify.
Yeah, no, I get you. Thank you. Sorry. Very spiky ability, let's say.
So, I'm not attacking it because I don't think I can hurt it. So,
Hey, Mike, I'm going to burn a stress to recharge Unleash Chaos.
Okay. Burn away.
I'm going to use a hope to use an
Okay.
experience. I really want to use Royal Mage, but I think that not on my watch is the more appropriate one.
Okay. So you're using that to get a +1 on your
my roll.
Okay.
And I will do 2 charges of Unleash Chaos.
Okay.
Famous last words. You want to spend a hope to give me advantage?
sure.
He can do that, right?
Yeah, it's assist an ally. You just have to describe how you assist him.
Seeing Garrick drop to the ground, letting out a blood-curdling howl, it bolsters Marlowe.
She screams, "Not on my watch."
The normally
Yeah.
the normal happy-go-lucky Garrick.
Okay.
Yes, and I scream, "Not on my watch." That is a 20 with hope.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, you hit. And you get hope.
And I do 2d10 damage.
2d10. And with your you can mark stress if you really don't like your damage results.
Yep.
I will take the 17.
It's pretty good.
Okay. So it looks like basically what happens is you conjure up an immense welling of your magic power. Almost feels like you're just going to tap out here. You're putting everything that you have into this. And as you go, you release it. It's just, I mean, that the spell casting is amazing. You even copyright Kamehameha. No, I'm just kidding. It bursts to the ground. Dust is kicking up. The wraith, as it tasted Garrick's memory, looked back in satisfaction, and then you can see its shadowy face look as this chaotic entropy and energy just rolls over it, and it's changed into ether. That's it. But
Holy shit. I'm not going to lie. Getting to use the experience for that, I realized all I got was a +1. But it felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt so thematic.
And you had that moment where you're like, "Not on my watch."
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a nice touch. I'm just calling it out. I don't know if anybody
those
else
are
felt that
good.
way, but that's how I feel.
Those are good, and I think that's another thing. You need to get used to using those. I think you need to use those a lot more often.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it just depends on how quickly you roll with hope and everything like that. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I feel like the hope mechanics and everything like that. It's good. It's just a lot to track between all the different things.
It also feels a lot like your ability to generate hope once you get rolling starts to feel similar to action points or victory points in Fallout, where it's like, oh, I might as well just use these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you can only accumulate 5. I was down at 0 a few turns ago, and now I'm back up to 4. I mean, and down to 3, and then I rolled hope again.
Garrick doesn't have a whole lot to use them on. I don't feel like it seems like he does, but not really.
Yeah, and that might just be based on his build. He might have been, as you said.
I think he might be better in a group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
but he does seem like kind of a face character with the amicable, affable, and then the inheritance. Like he seems more of a face character, which I didn't understand before we started. But
yeah, because in this case, they I don't necessarily mean warrior doesn't mean always good with a sword, but you could swing a sword really good. It's just that your main abilities and things like that didn't.
Well,
The damage is
we're
kind of
using the pre-gens.
Yeah.
Brent may have built a character differently had he selected absolutely you know what I mean, everything with the traits.
No, it's cool. Like I said, it just felt like, well, especially in compare, it must have been how your character felt in the 4th edition game, where my character didn't seem to be doing as much as your character. So I'm glad we traded off this time.
And I think if I'm truly being honest here, I think you'd probably get creative with battle strategists to create situations in which you generate vulnerability for your.
I was thinking that
for your thing, and so I think that's the other.
That's the point.
There and you.
Yeah, shove, triple grapple, and then do damage, but also make them vulnerable. Yeah, you're probably right.
And so there's probably a strategy there that helps kind of like, from a support.
But it should probably, in my opinion, it should say something about that. Like it should say something like, if you do something like, this is again, that sample of play that I think is going to be important, where it says, if you put them in this position, they are vulnerable and you should use this. Cause I just don't think people are going to pick up on that right out of the box.
Yeah. And I think and honestly, I think in this game, because the system feels like I could see the buddy cop working really well in this system for the reasons we've kind of discussed before about action economy and stuff like that not being as favorable for me, the GM, and you guys getting a ton of turns, but you guys just have to be prepared to do a lot of actions and then get interrupted by me.
Yeah.
And so I think taking the pre-generated characters, I think it would be nice if there was a little bit of a strategy associated with how they generated the character and like what their intention behind it was.
Yeah,
because
that's more what I mean.
Yeah, a new system is a little bit to take in, and then if you don't immediately recognize, oh, this is how battle strategies could work, I can see how narratively that can get in the way of your other thing.
Although you know what? Honestly, for pre-gen, like I'm pretty happy with Marlowe. I mean, somebody had to be Marlowe, right? It was one of us.
Marlowe's a straightforward wizard, and she does wizarding very well. It's just that it feels like Garrick is, like I said, it feels like they kind of wanted him to be a face with some of the stuff that he did. But you're probably right. He probably should have. I probably should have leaned on battle strategist more.
Yeah, to create openings, basically.
Yeah.
So before we discuss this anymore,
go ahead and finish the
Sorry, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah. I mean, we pushed through. I mean, it's one here for us. You're on the West Coast. Thanks for anybody that stuck with us.
So here it comes. As you deliver a powerful blow, the ritual ends. Basically the Whitefire Arcanist comes falling to the ground and the keystone vibrates with arcane energy. Then all at once, a soundless explosion erupts from the Whitefire Arcanist, dissipating any last arcane energy in the air. Not that Garrick actually feels it, but the clearing is quiet once again. Back inside the treehouse, but not an hour later, the keystone sits suspended carefully above a rumbling fire in the hearth. The Arcanist, who looks even older now than she did before, sits cross-legged in an overstuffed chair. There is an exhaustion in her voice as she speaks. You fought hard. I'm not surprised, of course. The king keeps good company. I'm very glad that you were there. And she finishes, the keystone will need a week, maybe more, to allow the magic to settle. I'll need to watch it carefully to ensure nothing cracks or becomes sentient or anything of the like. You know how it is. And in the meantime, after you rest and gather yourselves, have a nice hot meal and a warm bath. I have one more thing to ask of you. As you pull out of the Arcanist home, out of the forest itself, to view the verdant expanse from above and see the twisting stone spires breaking through the tree line, each with a flame flickering within the tower like a beacon. She continues. There's a spire just west of here, maybe a few hours' walk. I felt it on the way to the ritual. Its power was strange. The light felt weaker than it should be. I think something might be terribly wrong with the spire keeper, and I fear what will happen if the fire is extinguished altogether. When you're ready, come back, and I'll give you my map so you can make it there safely. It's good to have heroes in Sablewood again. And that's where we're done. Ta-da!
Ta-da.
So if you guys, So if you guys wanted to, I mean, honestly, there's enough information in the manuscript for you to kind of like play in their setting. It's kind of like a light setting, like they did with Candle Obscura. You kind of know
Mhm.
major things. You know,
Yeah, they
so
do a nice
there's
job with that part.
Yeah.
so there is a little bit there. And honestly, I mean, I know that we were just learning it, so I think 3 hours isn't bad, especially since we gave a chance to, you know, let the characters play through and all that stuff. It's funny because you guys do things differently. There's a whole inn that we could have explored, but we'll do that next time.
Okay.
But no, I think honestly, I think it was good. I mean,
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
I don't know what Brent's feelings were.
No, I think that's fun. And like I said, it's very much so it does that thing that D&D does, which is
Mhm,
high fantasy characters that are the focus of the game.
Mhm.
mhm.
And the story is about the characters. So I think it does that very well in this first playthrough. I like this more than I like the 4th edition.
I
I had more fun than I did in our 4th edition play, and
Yep.
yeah, there are some neat things, and the one thing that I wanted to touch on was it felt like, and this is me, Mike. So this is the player, so I have biases, right?
mhm.
But it felt like we were both easier to hit and did less damage than the enemies.
It does. Like, well, because basically since I think what they're trying to do is find that sweet spot, because this is how it plays in my head,
Oh, no, yeah, that definitely was the case.
is that if I get to go, it's bad. Like that's
Right.
what so I mean, it's not like you can prevent me from going if I have
Sure.
either fear or you guys fail or you roll a fear or something
Of
like that.
course.
So you can't stop me from going. But what you can do is you can, align your attacks and stuff like that to create you basically hit combos, I wonder if that's not a problem that you'll run into is you say, okay, well, we don't want them to attack. So because we have XYZ party members, like Chrono Trigger, they'll do their 3-party combo attack and, wipe out the opponents, and then you just rinse and repeat. I'm curious if that doesn't become a problem. But I think that, speaking from a fiction standpoint, I think you can create interesting scenarios to actually play that within. Everyone tag teams. Yeah.
Limit break.
So,
Come on, limit break.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
limit breaks.
I was
at the
kind of
same
surprised,
time.
actually. So just a side note, I was kind of surprised there wasn't that mechanic in Fabula Ultima. There wasn't something like that. Where
they
you
did
could-
introduce it into the next book.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
did they?
Yeah, they had a limit break rule that they introduced in the high fantasy archetype expansion that they released last year. Maybe.
I'm
I-
gonna be
yeah.
honest.
That was
Sorry.
the thing that was the JRPG thing that I thought was missing was that limit break / team limit break thing.
No,
Mhm.
I thought it was missing too, but my comment on Daggerheart, like I wasn't saying like we were easier to hit and doing less damage as a bad thing. I don't mind lethality in a system. I really don't.
Well, but I don't think this game has a high level of.
I don't think it
lethality.
does.
You
It
coulda
wasn't as
killed
high
us.
as it felt, but it made me feel like I was in danger, which invested me in the character. And honestly,
Mhm.
that's what got me going. Like maybe I should spend some of these stress. Maybe I should be trying to do
Right.
cooler things, and maybe I'll actually do a cool thing.
Yeah, what we have that the GM doesn't is like they just said in chat is we have resource management. We have the armor points, and then we have the mitigation from that, and then we have our re-rolls. We have all that stuff to do. But in your scenario, like, so here's the thing that I think is really my question about the game is, as a GM, eventually how do you manage the feels bad? Because really, if you felt like you were doing too well, you could have just summoned more skeletons.
Oh no, that was actually built into the encounter.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, but you couldn't just keep spending fear.
But
in
if
something
you
like
could.
if you
I
thought
could
we
keep
were
spending
just
fear
that's what I'm
like-
saying.
through them,
That's what I'm
right.
saying is, again, if you really wanted to just kill us, you could
Yeah.
have just kept spending.
Well,
like,
there was
'cause that would have been the way to kill us. Is just keep making
that's-
Did
skeletons.
you
that's
see
true.
Daryl had a
The-
question for us?
how do you guys feel about the action tokens and knowing when to take turns?
I think Brent and I have played together enough that I don't think that either one of us would step in front unless there was a legitimate reason why we wanted to take an action before the other person.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going to step on each other's toes to the point where it's going to become a bad issue. I think communication between the players is
Mhm.
key, but we've played together so much that we may look like we're not communicating, but it's more like if I really think I have something to do, I will speak up instead
Yeah,
of
we're pretty good at checking in with each other. I think if you were at a table of people that didn't know each other very well, that realization that I could just go again and again and again and again, like I could see people doing that.
I could see people being obnoxious about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
and the tricky part is I mean, just to follow the principles of the game. If you notice that you're going, because what one of the interesting parts about the action tracker to me is that each of you are given like I'm supposed to have tokens that represent each of you on there.
mhm.
So like I have green tokens for Brent and red tokens for
Yeah.
Jeff.
Okay.
So
So
I can actually see how the combat distribution.
Right. Visibility, I think, would probably be
yeah, I
more.
think visibility helps. The action tracker is a unique mechanic,
Mhm.
and um, like knowing that if I was going to say if I fuck up, but it's really if the dice just don't roll, and that happens, that
Mhm.
eventually you're going to get a turn, and it may be really bad.
Right. I just think, like I said, I just think that you need. I think that visual element would be helpful because
Mhm.
you will find a player who's just like, no, I go again. No, I go again. No, I go again. No, I go again.
Yeah,
Until somebody says, I need to take a turn, which could cause some friction in a group, or until he does something and the GM gets to interrupt.
or I mean, or you could run into a situation like where you had with you two is that it felt like in the abilities that made the most sense to use, Jeff's abilities made more sense. So there's no
Exactly.
I mean, out of fairness, it's good to see you both going and trying to do things. And that's why I was like, well, there's got to be a way that you can participate. But I feel like if that was the case and it's like, okay, well, let's just lean on the person who's doing the damage, then Jeff could be like, okay, I go, and I go for like the whatever the spear warrior fight, and I'm just stabbing with my spear, kind of like Chun-Li kicks, and
What
that's
I will say one other thing that I think is a little bit of a concern. And sorry, Mike, I met it a bit because I knew this, but you kind of gave me a clue anyway, so I didn't feel too guilty about it. Like I couldn't physically attack the wraiths, right? Like I couldn't do any
you
damage to them, right?
you could do
Or what-
damage, it would be halved.
Have ouch.
Yeah. See, I don't know if that's actually like so. One of the
Half
things.
of two is only one, Mike.
So yeah. So one of the things that Short said, D&D Short said, is against some enemies that have melee immunities, it's better to just not do anything.
Yeah, well,
Because
exactly.
giving you action points is the worst thing I can do by attacking them.
No, it does make you play differently. You're 100% correct. Like I knew what you were doing immediately when you were like, I don't think I'm gonna attack. And I'm like, then I think I'm gonna, because
Yeah.
I picked up on it, like I'm doing magic damage. You're not. There are probably situations where
Knowing
you
I
would
could
be
have done
doing
a little
cancer
damage,
Yeah.
was fine. But like I said, it's weird that there's a mechanic in the game that eventually might encourage people not to do anything.
Well, that's my point is that then can you act in a way that creates a combo of some kind? You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's where it looks, and that's the other thing that I think I can always just put in chat. I hope I'm saying that right, but
I think it's
it's
agonist.
true. It's the truth is that I mean, regardless of who's going, your misses and your fears allow me to build resources and take action. So, I mean, if you have a person who's doing stuff, I mean, at the end of the day, I could narratively say, okay, well, then, since they're the one proving, like they're the one who's put themselves out there, it would make sense from a fictional standpoint
To everybody attack them.
to gang up on that one because they're the only ones doing everything and everyone else is cowering behind them, kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting from that perspective, and I can see how I'll be curious to see how there is. I don't know if there's if obviously if there is immunity, I can see how that would work. But these guys didn't have immunity. It literally just says that they
But doing
have
one,
resistance
but
to
one,
physical.
but one. I only do max
Mm,
9 points of damage, so that
yeah.
means max every time I roll, I do 5, maybe
Mhm.
4. Like, and that's not really worth giving you an action point.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, potentially action points and or fear. I mean, like,
Right, and yeah, action points and fear.
Yeah,
I mean,
to put it in video game terms, if you're not going to really hurt something, why are you feeding it turn meter?
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
all I'm
Seven
going to do,
fear.
it may not be sped up enough right now to kill us all, but eventually, if I keep wasting shit and giving it more, it's just going to steamroll us.
Man,
It's
seven.
It's an interesting mechanic.
I would have been. It would have been a much different fight if I had 7 fear.
7 fear. Shit, Mike would have wiped us.
I don't really feel like I would want to wipe you guys, but there would have definitely been a chance that you guys would have woken up and the fiction would have concluded that the Whitefire Arcanist had won the day.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, well, and see, that's the thing that I ran into with Conan with Doom tokens. It was like, what stops what? Like, I would probably wouldn't have to do it, but like, you can become very confrontational when you have things that like people know you're spending to make the combat harder. Like, I could see that being eventually being like, oh, you guys are doing really well. Here's 4 more skeletons to fight. And that feeling starts to be like, oh, the GM doesn't want us to win. And so balancing that, I think, is something that they're gonna have to I think they should probably give advice for.
Yeah.
I was just laughing at Zeryl's comment. Sorry.
Well, and I think what's really funny is that you can totally fail forward and just give your GM like a million fear. Like, I mean, if you're rolling really good and succeeding, they could still bank a lot of fear and not have a chance to use it. And obviously, that's the fight that you wouldn't want to have them have a huge bank of fear to begin with, because the Force Wraiths have 2 abilities that I thought were really interesting. I mean, the memory delve and the pass through. The pass through was kind of neat. I hope I described those in ways that were
no.
Cool.
They painted a picture. Both of them painted a picture in my head.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The skeletons did have an ability. I thought it was like, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should use that. But there's one that they did. It's basically you spend 1 action token to activate their group attack, moving all skeletons in close range of a target into melee and immediately dealing 5 damage each. Like, they just kind of mob you.
Jesus.
I was like, wow. Yeah, this does not require an attack roll, but uses up all their activations. Okay.
Well, no, that's that. I think that they've done some okay balancing of stuff. Like I do. So I'm interested to see more. Like, I really am. I may take some time to read some more of the rules. I tried to go into this at like more of a brand new player, which I am in this case, and not try to, you know what I mean, figure out too much stuff. But I had a lot of fun.
At least on first blush, this is all I can really say is that I am glad you had fun, because I feel like I don't really. I mean, we've played enough non D&D games at this point to say, is there? And we're not the forever system people. We're not going to have a forever table. But I do like the idea that I can have a backup game that kind of fits that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I meant. Is I feel like you could replicate a D&D game in this system without giving Hasbro your money. And I feel like that is a thing for me. And it's a little bit more narrative. There's more. I like the things that they did that I just don't have to house rule. Like, hey, how are your characters connected? That sort of thing.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Like, and I get why they can call it rules light now. I get it. It's like there's this like weird spike in the beginning that once you get over it, I don't think it actually is that complicated.
Well, again, it's a lot of stuff up front. Like, it's a lot of stuff you need to remember, and it's a lot of stuff on your character sheet.
Because it's different.
And I consider, like I said, we can argue whether or not that's rules light or not. Whether just reading the real hard shit up front and then having to have it all in mind later is a thing. I think it's narrative, but not necessarily rules light, because there is a lot that you have to remember, and there's a lot of moving parts when you're in a combat.
No, it's lighter than Pathfinder.
It is lighter. It is lighter than Pathfinder, though. And I still like Pathfinder, but
I still think between D&D and Pathfinder, I think I would rather play Pathfinder.
You could call it rules lighter. I would be okay with that, but I just don't think calling it rules light, like, especially now that we have a solid grasp on what like a rules light game is. Like, when you can pick up like Morkborg, whose rules are all on one page, when it's like, roll some dice, you win or it's good or not, or Troika, like, those are definitely rules light games. I could put this somewhere in the middle. Like, there's a lot up front, but that D&D isn't a rules light game, and if you want to capture that D&D sort of feel, like you have to have those investments.
You have to have some meat. There's got to be some meat there. There's
Yeah,
got
you have to have those.
You got to detail some stuff.
Yeah, you have to have similar investments, like similar investments in making your characters, similar investments on what combat feels kind of like, and I think this does that.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see what MCDM puts out if that, because this one not having the battle map, I think is I prefer the theater of the mind these days. And as to your question, I think the physical having the physical tokens in there like makes it like super easy, and the fact that there's not an official VTT support and that you just kind of have to code something in yourself.
Well,
I mean, those people that can do it are awesome, but if you can't,
it's still the beta. I'm sure that there will be something. I
mean,
it
is.
Basically, it kind of changes the tactics of the game, right? If you're in a physical table and you can see how much fear he has, how many action tokens he has, the action tracker, like it changes your tactics of the game, because you're going to be like, oh, he has 7 fear, he can fuck us over whenever he wants. So we need to play a little bit more on the safe side until we run him out of that. Like you can see his management resource a little bit easier. For us, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I could see it making a tactical difference, and especially with more people, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
Yep. So, so those of you that have played it, I mean, if you have your characters and all that stuff, you can easily give feedback to the people at Darrington Press. I think through
they have surveys right now. I think at Daggerheart.com. I think you can download the beta materials and then also do their feedback surveys. So
yeah. So I mean, I would say send it to them. You know, I mean, this has got strong potential, and I think it's, you know, I might actually buy the book when it comes out. If I can.
I've never tried Owlbear Rodeo. Mike, you've tried more VTTs than I have. Have you tried that one?
I don't have a lot of experience with it. I mean, you can use it for some of the things. I didn't actually figure out how to use an action tracker with it. I know that some people have been working for extensions on it, but I'm sure that there's just something. I just don't have a lot of experience with it. I've opened it up, I've tinkered with it a little bit, but I've never used it to run a game. Kind of.
I mean, you could technically just use that whiteboard that we used before, really, and just like make it dots, or like a dry erase board. You could just do that with, I think.
Well, and what some people do, I you know, and I was kind of looking for ideas on how to do this. Some people just use tokens on Roll20, where they just have like the action card and they just put a token on it. And you know, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying that I've seen people do, is that they literally.
It's a good point, Aganoise.
The tokens, and then they put the tokens on it. I did see somebody get a little bit fancier, where they coded the action tracker to actually maintain the number of action item, or you know, the action points that they had, as well as the fear that they had accumulated. And then of course the tokens that they had, you know, all the different hit points and everything like that. I was playing around in alchemy, and alchemy has some things that it can do. I hadn't figured out how to create an action tracker, but I had figured out how to create character sheets with all the different custom things that you needed to, so you could use the character sheet in alchemy. And I like alchemy because it's more of the narrative focused.
And Mike doesn't always like to give us whiteboard access, because some of us are irresponsible with our whiteboard usage.
Yeah. Let's just say that give these guys a whiteboard and a marker, and
who knows. Not know who wrote on the whiteboard when Mike went out of the room that time. I don't remember at all who. I just remember looking, and it was there.
And it was a rocket ship, okay?
No, there was a lot of rocket ships.
Yeah. But no, like I said, it's beta, so I'm sure that, you know,
I'm sure that they'll have stuff that they're going to add both. There'll be some rules adjustments, I'm sure. Really, I'm pretty happy with it, really, though. It definitely felt better designed than Candle Obscura, I think.
I mean, I enjoyed our Candle Obscura experience. I just didn't understand.
I don't think that was the rule.
I don't think other than
I don't think
Cthulhu, or
that didn't feel like the rules were the reason for that.
Yeah, but you know, I'm hoping that as this gets closer to launch and they finalize the rule set, that there'll be some enterprising individuals who, you know, make extensions for all these VTTs, so that people can continue to use the VTT of their choice, you know, and not have to get locked into one. But I mean, maybe the official one will be somewhere, but if the VTT allows extensions, there's always members of the
Yeah.
community who are willing to, share the work, I think, a little bit.
Yep. And I mean, I've already seen stuff for Foundry. Like I said, there is somebody who had built an action tracker for Owlbear Rodeo. I think all their extensions have to be approved, and I don't
Okay.
think they had gotten approved yet. And like I said, all we did was use a bot for our roles and everything like that, and in Discord. So I mean, you can go as low tech or as high tech as you want.
And we are low tech boys.
We're low tech internet players.
I mean, if we would have had to, Mike would have trusted our dice rolls, but it's nice being able to use Discord at least.
Yeah.
To to have something. So,
and
thanks for finding that bot, Mike, to do the.
It's convenient to have a bot, I think. So
it is.
I like it.
It is,
even if it chooses to screw me on some occasions.
I don't know. We had 3 times where we.
Yeah, I did the same to you once. So yeah.
So whatever.
Okay, so I guess this means that we'll be. No, there's somebody actually wrote a Daggerheart bot. So where you do is just hit /DH and it just throws your Daggerheart. You can add modifiers and stuff.
It looks like
it actually tells
Daggerheart dice, right?
Yeah, it's super sweet.
Maybe Mike will put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find the link to it. I was just kind of messing around all day today. But how can I show this off? Let me see.
Yeah, because we use Avray for the regular rolls.
For the damage.
Yeah. It's too late in the night for me to figure out how to show this to you guys with the stream. But yeah, no, it's really nice. It's easy, and especially since we mostly play Theater of the Mind in our VTT anyways. Like the nice thing is even our off-stream game that we play with some other friends, we just play in Discord. That's how we go. And then if we need to, like we're playing Alien RPG, and so we'll just share maps and people can tell me where they are and how much xenomorphs are killing them.
Exactly. Yeah. Zeril had a comment about do you think you need to invest in a VTT for Pathfinder 2 or MCDM? MCDM, I mean, they reached a goal where they're going to try to do a VTT, but that game being as tactical as it sounds right now, I have not seen any of their alpha or beta or wherever they're at stuff. I'm not part of the Patreon.
It sounds like they would rather have you have
in a VTT. The game seems to scream for a VTT if it's going to be as tactical.
In Pathfinder and D&T, it's nice to have one, but not necessary. We just say yes a lot when people say crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, honestly, I was actually thinking about this the other day with MCDM's game. And I mean, since the game is designed around a VTT, I would feel like you'd be doing the game a disservice because my only solution to the game was basically do a homebrew conversion where all you do is the same thing that they did in this game. And I think the original range, the original abstraction from range all came from 13th Age. And I think it's been used by everybody since. And so, I mean, all you'd be doing is basically, copying that abstraction into the MCDM if you didn't want to use a VTT. And I just don't know if the game would be as easy or fun because it seems as though the big part of it is just being able to take that.
Yeah, it wouldn't match their vision as much.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm not.
Yeah. But I would say invest in VTT. We're cheap. Invest is a pretty strong word for us.
No, but I mean, if we had a game that we wanted to play often enough, even if we're not a forever campaign group, I mean, I think if it was something we might subscribe to one.
Yeah,
I don't think we're subscribing to all of them.
Mike did subscribe to Roll20.
Yeah, I mean, I put down the $5.99 it costs or whatever for the Pro Light membership or whatever it is. But also, I mean, there's a lot of VTTs that are free that have a lot of great stuff that if you're not building multiple campaigns, you can at least get a start with it to see if it's your
cup of tea
poison of choice. Yeah, because like Alchemy's free. Oh my gosh, what did I mean, there's really basic ones. I just went through a whole bunch of them this week, and now that it's 12:30 in the morning where I'm at, I have no recollection of any of their names. Oh my gosh. How are you guys doing? Okay, we probably should wrap up. I guess.
Yeah, we should wrap up.
Thank you for everybody that stuck with us. Thank you for all the comments in the chat. It is great to have that kind of interaction. If you want to interact with us a little bit more, we are on social media, Facebook, Threads, Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, and YouTube. We are at Rollwise, or you can email us, rollwiseguys@gmail.com.
Yeah, and always, and to mimic everybody or echo everybody, not mimic, echo everybody. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate having you with us. And as always, roll well, roll wise, and be safe out there, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.